6 o'clock from 104.5 The Zone Studios. Good morning. I'm Justin Hawkins. There will be no private workout for Shedeur Sanders and Travis Hunter with the Titans. Per Jim White of TennesseeTitans.com, they are sticking with 4 years of game film, scouting multiple games and attending a pro day they described as very impressive. In the men's Final Four, Florida rallied past Auburn 79-73 with the help of Walter Clayton Jr.'s 34 points to reach their first title game since 2007. They're seeking their third overall title. The madness continued in the second game as Houston overcame a 9-point deficit with 3 minutes left to shock Duke 70-67. The Cougars were led by L.J. Cryer's 26 points and playing in all 40 minutes. This will be the Cougars' first title game since 1984, and they've never won. The championship is tonight between Florida and Houston. It tips off at 7:50. You can hear Westwood One's coverage starting at 6 right here on 104.5 The Zone. For the women, UConn and head coach Gina Oriyama return to the top of women's basketball as they dominate South Carolina 82-59 and capture its 12th title, first since 2016. Azzi Fudd took home the Final Four MVP. She had 24 points, 5 rebounds, and 3 steals in her final performance. And in the NHL, the Ovi watch is over. Washington Capitals winger Alex Ovechkin scored his 895th career NHL goal Sunday against the New York Islanders, breaking Wayne Gretzky's record of 894. He does it in his 1,487th career game, the same amount Gretzky played in. For all your foundation repair and waterproofing needs, you have to go to USSTN.com. Breaking news at once for your home for the Titans and the Vols. This is 104.5 The Zone.
Wake up and welcome to a brand new week on Ramon, Kayla, and Will RKW with lots to get into. And guys, we only have 4 hours to do it. 615-737-1045 is the number. A Final Four weekend that gives us an upset, a comeback, and an SEC showdown. We've got the Titans out here canceling visits with quarterbacks. Cam Ward jerseys are not on pre-order yet, but we'll let you know when they are. Stoney Keeley scouts tight ends with us at 7:20, and it's Masters Week. Good morning.
Hello.
How we doing?
We're good.
Good. I know it is
Hello,
Masters
friends.
Week.
That's what I was wondering. I was wondering when we were going to get a hello, friends. There it is.
No, I started playing the theme music yesterday, like the second the Valero Texas Open ended and Brian Harmon won. It's just
Yeah. It's a big weekend for Jen Nance.
It is.
Oh,
There he is.
Ah, there
Jim.
it is. There it is.
Houston and
What a
Florida
voice.
tonight. Masters this weekend. Jim is living his best life.
He really is. I mean, you couldn't get much better than that. You could actually watch your Houston Cougars like this year because
Yeah.
he wasn't doing the NCAA tournament. But then you get the best time of the year also with the Masters where you are still on the announcement. If he could get a double whammy
my
this
gosh.
weekend, man.
Florida may have something to say about that tonight, though. But you're right. He's having a heck of a time. Houston making it this week for him. Like, I mean, him getting to Augusta is no big deal. Like,
Yeah, that's just
gas the PJ up and
paperwork.
just get me there in time is all he's asking for, man. Golly. Big time weekend this past weekend, but all in all, Jim Nance from what all everyone has ever told me as I get my words together this morning. Great human being and loves his Houston Cougars, man. So, Cougs. That's what we call them, the Cougs, baby.
That's what they call themselves.
They call themselves that. Well, either way, that was big. What a breakdown by Duke. Well, I know we're going to get to that, but goodness
We will.
gracious.
Certainly.
Oh, Duke. All the memes I
What a
saw this
collapse,
weekend
you
were
mean?
worth it, though.
Yeah, the White Lotus finale and the Duke
I was not
crossover
happy with
was
the White
was great.
Lotus.
Were you not? Why not?
No.
I thought it was great.
Nah, I don't like one of the people who was eliminated.
Okay.
White Lotus is elimination.
Spoiler
thing,
alert.
or-
It aired last night. But
You knew that it's not really a spoiler because you knew someone was going to die in the finale.
Rebbe, you said one of them, which could
Right.
insinuate there are multiple.
Yeah.
Just that's never
It
happened
might
before.
be. Might be.
Or maybe we're just misleading you. I don't know. But I thought White Lotus was good.
This is a
last
sitcom, not like a.
I wouldn't call it a
Not a
sitcom. No,
sitcom.
it
I
is
call
a-
it a drama.
Yeah,
It's a
it's
drama.
just a drama.
I've seen that one come up a lot as of lately. I got to get that one on my watch list soon, man.
This was probably their worst season, but it still is good. Like, even White Lotus at its worst is better than most shows at its best.
How many seasons are they in?
3.
Okay, that's perfect. It's perfect time to pick
Hawaii,
up on something.
Sicily, and Thailand.
Okay.
They're not super long seasons.
Yeah.
And like you can get through them pretty quick.
They seem to be intense, though. Are they?
Yeah.
They're intense.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, no, it's
For sure.
dramatic.
But the characters are great.
Here I am, just worried about righteous gemstones and stuff.
I watched that
Which
last
is
night
nuts.
too.
And it's got the same one of the same actors. In it.
Does it
Yes, it
really?
does.
Alden Goggins, yeah.
Is he?
Baby Billy or Billy.
Baby Billy.
Baby Billy,
Yeah. Baby Billy.
He's
that
such a good
character.
actor.
That character.
He's
insane.
misbehaving in a lot of his shows
Really
that he's in.
Is he like a drama actor in this one, or he like
He's a
crazy?
little bit everything.
He's a little bit of everything
Misbehaving in
it.
this one too.
Is he misbehaving in this one? Well, I can't wait to see this
Yep.
one,
There you
man. I got that one on my list. By the way, I hope everybody's marked safe from the storms this past weekend.
Oof.
As close as I think I've ever been in one, that was as serious as it got. By the way, that alert, shout out to the people, the National Weather Service that sent it out. It came quick. Everything happened fast in my house. We had, exactly as they said, we had 10 minutes. And in 10 minutes, we had to grab batteries, flashlights, and battery chargers and everything else and went underneath my house to the crawl space. My wife's cousin showed up because she's moving. She showed up to the house.
Wow.
And I posted the pictures of the video of what happened in my crib. And within like 2 minutes of her showing up, ushering her to underneath the house, the storm hit. And this by far, I've never seen it like that.
Sure.
But it was weird because I'm seeing the cliff of the storm, I guess, roll in. And I don't know if it was a rotation or the wind pushing or whatever it was.
A little bit of both, maybe.
Yeah. I'm waiting to see what National Weather Service say or confirm.
Do they get that today?
Yeah, Humphreys County got theirs yesterday.
Okay.
And maybe Hendersonville, if it was a storm. But let me
Sure.
tell you this. Seeing that cliff of cloud roll in, and it looked like whatever was around that atmosphere in that moment was like rolling smoke. It was almost like a smoke machine.
Weird.
And I had never seen that. And that's how I knew it was that serious. It looked like a rolling just smoke show.
That's so weird.
And I was just like, yeah, it's time to close the door. I did try to push the door back open to see if it was hitting right then. But whatever it was, like my neighbor 2 down had a tree fall. My neighbor to the next to me had a tree fall in the driveway. Had to help them move that. But in the back of the neighborhood, the reason I think is something dropped down and popped back up, the top of the trees were twisted. Mm-hmm. Now, maybe it was wind, but the back of the neighborhood didn't get wrecked because nothing hit the house, but the trees, I'm talking about big roots out of the ground.
Not fun.
Jeez.
Not fun.
Yeah, it's been a wild week. I
Not
think everyone's
fun.
exhausted from last week.
I think it was like 290-some tornadoes
Yeah.
in like 4 days, whatever
And then
it was.
flooding on top of it. I mean, some of the flooding that's happened around Middle Tennessee is awful.
It's pretty nuts, man. So,
hopefully
for
everyone's
sure,
doing
hopefully
okay.
everybody's fine, man.
And I'm
I
glad
know
you
thoughts
guys
and
were
prayers
okay.
can do a lot for you right now. So,
Yeah.
hope everybody's doing fine. Saturday, wow. You, though, I heard you on the television. Ha! Oh, Will Bowling, man, at the Tennessee Invitational this weekend.
You got to think this is a big deal. The much bigger deal is this is the first time I can congratulate you on air as the new color analyst of the
Right.
Tennessee Volunteers. I was going to
That's
call
right.
in Friday and surprise you guys and surprise you, but one thing led to another, and I did not have as much time as I thought because as the announcer for track meet, you're often herding cats to go to their right events and things like that. And would so-and-so please report to whatever. But, man, so excited for you and so excited for the Vol Network, man. Everywhere I went, up in Knoxville over the weekend, hey, I hear your buddy. He's going to be doing the Vols. Man, we're so excited. You know, him and Mike are just going to be so good. Like, I had that conversation about 20 to 25 times.
Did you
over the
really,
weekend? It was great.
Oh, yeah.
I was happy
In
to
the
have
heart
it as
of it.
well.
I appreciate that. He recorded my yay real quick. That was but man, I appreciate that, Will. We text over the weekend and stuff like that. Will was genuinely excited for me. I knew you were trying to call in, but your schedule is
Couldn't get
crazy
away.
too. But with that being said, I got all of that this weekend too. It was I was in places and it was like, hey, congratulations. I was just like, okay, this is a bigger deal than I thought.
You're like, I'm trying to pick out lemons. Like, what are you? No, for real, though.
You
Like,
think that you were getting stopped in the grocery store before.
you do learn the power
Now it'll be a
of
different level.
of the zone because
Facts.
it's incredible. Like, you're on the station for a week even, and it's like people We have such a good listener base. It's amazing. But the Vault Network, same way.
Yeah.
Like you have no idea the amount of people who are taking their radios into games, and you're the voice of those iconic moments along with Mike Keat. Like, it's just so cool. It still hasn't even set in how cool that is for you. I'm just so excited for you. So well deserved.
That. Same here, man. I hadn't set in yet. This weekend will be a first dry run of it too with the orange and white game. And I'm just coasting along, just thinking, all right, we're
sure.
doing the thing, right? But the weight of understanding, you're going live, sir.
Sure. Absolutely.
You are going live, and I'm trying to get as much down as I possibly can. Trying to see if I can memorize the entire roster, which is crazy because the portal will open up soon too, and you got to figure that part
you gotta
out.
Rememorize it.
Yeah, man.
That's one of Mike Keith's skills is memorizing an entire roster.
It tripped me out.
It's pretty incredible, isn't it?
It's wild
it
how many
tripped
names.
me out seeing it because he sit down, not to give too much of what Mike Keith does, but he had a blank sheet of paper and he's just one. Two. And
for those who are familiar, that is not normal. That's a special amount of recall and attention to detail.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
One through, it's NFL roster. Now the roster gets bigger because of college. Yeah. You legitimately have 90 guys out there and a few of them scholarships, but then there's going to be walk-on guys that get special teams burned. And most times fans don't know who the walk-ons are, respectfully, because I got some great friends who walk-on.
Really appreciate that.
They usually let it out. But with that being said, it still hadn't set in just yet. But this weekend, I think, is going to be the real test. And I think more from the public side of it.
Yeah, just seeing people and putting on a Vault Network polo, which that's got to be cool.
I got it in the mail.
That's awesome. Cool. I saw the picture of it. I was like, dang, that's cool.
I was messing with Keisha. I was just like, what you get ordered to the house on a Saturday morning? She was like, I didn't order anything this time. And it had my name on it. So I had to
nice little surprise.
615-737-1045 is our number. We stream the show live on Facebook Live, YouTube, Twitter, or Twitch, as well as the 1045 The Zone app. That's what I was locked into, listening to The Zone, to and from Nashville over the weekend. You can do that as well if you are leaving the listening area as you are driving around this morning. Coming up, a weekend recap for you, starting with the Titans' decision on Shedeur Sanders, plus a Final Four recap, as we got two great games on the hardwood on Saturday night. That's next on RKW.
Did you know that up to 50% of the air you breathe in your home comes from your crawl space? I was just in my crawl space, so I looked in the other day, y'all, but I get it. Most don't even want to know what's in there. But moisture, especially with all the storms that have been going on, man, they can create an unhealthy issues that can make their way into the air you breathe every day in your home. This is where United Structural Systems can help you. USS has been keeping homes dry and stable in Middle Tennessee since 1994, so you know they aren't going anywhere. Help control that moisture and musty smells with mold treatment and crawl space encapsulation that comes with the USS guarantee. Encapsulation helps reduce high humidity in your crawl space and helps deter mold and mildew and protects your crawl space from pests and wood rot. So turn your crawl space into a healthy space. Call USS for all your foundation repair and waterproofing needs. Again, that's the company that I trust. You can go to USSTN.com. That's USSTN.com or call them 615-488-7855. United Structural Systems.
RKW on 104.5 The Zone is brewed up by Scooter's Coffee with locations in White House, Mount Juliet, Rivergate, Smyrna, and Brentwood. Download the Scooter's Coffee mobile app today to order ahead and save $2 off your first mobile order. The Tennessee Titans will not have a private workout with Shedeur Sanders. NFL Network insider Ian Rappaport reported Monday that Sanders and his teammate Travis Hunter were slated for a workout with the team in just 2 days, April 9th on Wednesday. The report from Jim Wyatt says the Titans will instead keep their evaluation of Sanders to previous games scouted, game film, and the aforementioned pro day, which included Sanders firing off 60-plus throws with only 4 incompletions. Congratulations to Cam Ward. You, sir, are a Tennessee Titan.
For the second straight week.
Yeah, for the
second, third, fourth. I mean, yeah,
I think this one was about capping it off for me in terms of just knowing that you've cancel a private workout, like you're pretty much saying, nah, we're good, is what it comes across to me. And they could have liked Shedeur Sanders' workout. I watched the whole thing. I thought it was great. But I think if you already have your mind made up, why put him through that knowing that, oh, yeah, you could possibly still be our guy. I think they were just like, let's just cut it off now. Yeah,
a portion of me honestly still wants to lean. To be quite honest with you, still want to lean with the idea that there's a shot there. And the only reason I bring that up is for their pro day to be this past Friday, if I'm not mistaken, Friday, and for the Titans to just double back for a workout, it just kind of seems just like overkill in a sense. So whatever they wanted to see, hopefully the Titans and Shedeur and Colorado somewhat help facilitate that as much as they wanted to see him in a private workout. 60 passes, I'll be honest with you, that's a good bit of throws for you to evaluate somebody on top of the film that you've already seen and evaluated too. And again, it comes down to respect in a sense. Just like, look, we're not going to waste your time. We see you now. We can see you again for the optics. But again, you got to think about Deion Sanders in general. Like, let's go to this dad real quick. He's the type of guy that ran his 40, ran out of the stadium, right? And he didn't take visits for anybody outside of the top 3. That's his philosophy also. And you got to also think, too, with him being in the NFL and just around the sport this long, like he understands the business side, too. So I'm sure I would hope that Deion and the Titans had a conversation like, hey, this is too close for us to have a pro day and also a private workout. Get what you need right now. Save his shoulder, too. Do I think Shedeur still has a chance to come here? 10% chance, just because you never want to say no. I don't know what's going to happen between now and draft day, but I mean, you got to respect the process.
I don't know. I think just because we got burned by the Joe Alt, J.C. Latham thing last year doesn't mean this is the same situation.
You don't think so?
Because you have the first pick this year. It's not like somebody's going to take Cam in front of you and you got to pivot.
Yeah.
Because we learned our lesson last year, right?
Did.
Like we got too fixated, I think the whole fan base and everybody, not just us, got a little too fixated on Joe Alt.
Facts.
And we learned again that there is always an option where there are smoke screens and there are another guy that you've got to be really high on at the same position. I don't think we have to do that this year. You have the first pick, not the 7th pick.
Yeah, and I do think when you get down to details of what they've done in terms of vetting Cam Ward now compared to Shedeur Sanders, it is more of a process that they kind of went through all the way to the end, and that included Amy Adams-Strunk going down to the private workout, getting, that introduction, which I do not believe. I have not heard of anything
I hadn't heard
of
that.
Amy going to a pro day. So that's a difference maker.
I don't think to Colorado. Yeah, I think she just went to Miami.
Yeah, she just went to Miami from all that's been reported so far. We'll see if anything else come out later. But Cam Ward, Nashville, it's your home. Mm-hmm. Like I said, Cam Ward is coming to town.
Yeah, it's true.
Yeah,
you've already declared
Every
that.
Christmas.
I know. I appreciate you trying to entertain all options because we have weeks still to fill. But I mean, I think we got to be real about it at this point. There are no other options.
I was just shocked that it was reported as like I said, but it is a respect factor when you know the business as well as the Sanders family does when it comes down to this type of stuff. Like, hey, don't waste our time. So I would appreciate that definitely if I was Deion Sanders and Shedeur to say, hey,
sure,
we've already made our decision.
Mike Morganzi saying on Friday, Shedeur threw the ball well. We got to see him out there with Travis. And Travis, everything you see on film, he is one of the twitchiest athletes I've ever seen. He's impressive. It was good to see Shedeur go through the whole workout and the 2-minute drill after. It just confirms a lot of stuff you saw on tape. He can drive the deep ball. You saw that here today, so it was a really good workout. That is Mike Morganzi to Jim Wyatt on Shedeur Sanders at Colorado Pro Day. It does feel like Shedeur Sanders to Cleveland is losing momentum. Travis Hunter to Cleveland is gaining momentum.
That's an interesting thing, real quick, because I do still think Shedeur Sanders is in the mix for one of these spots that goes after the Titans. I believe that if they feel they can set him up for success in either situation, that's obviously, I don't know what goes on behind the scenes there, but I do think he can be a starting quarterback in this league. And in Cleveland, there's parts there. There's pieces there. But, you know, the more and more you heard the talk after this pro day, even though Shedeur Sanders had a great pro day, it does seem like it's a little kind of leaning towards Travis Hunter now because, again, you see his versatility and knowing that maybe you could put him at wide receiver, but put him in a package on third down at the corner spot. So, yeah, you might get more for your bang for your buck right now out of Travis Hunter.
Yeah, no doubt about it. Looking at Cleveland taking the number 2 overall pick and it being Travis, like I look at that situation the same way. I guess you look at the value of the pick more than anything. The value of the pick suggests that Travis Hunter is one of the highest rated guys. If you're not going to get the number 1 overall pick, like picking a quarterback that you feel like can't take you to the next level or has a year or two before you get to the next level. Again, you have to balance what you're looking for and how early you're trying to win. And that's the reason I look at the New York Giants situation. I don't know if they're going to be in a position to pick Shedeur either because, again, between Brian Daboll and Joe Shane, their general manager, like that's going to be jobs on the line is the way I look at this one. Publicly embarrassed with everything that happened last year and to bank on a rookie saving your job or the fact that you got Russell Wilson and Jameis Winston and, hey, I got time. I don't know if Brian Daboll has time.
Right.
Yeah, it's the question is, does drafting a rookie quarterback give you more time?
For their situation, immediately I think Russell's going to play. It's the starter.
Yeah.
You know?
Because Joe Shane, the GM, doesn't have time either.
He doesn't.
And that's the weird thing. And that's why you lean more towards they probably won't go with Shedeur and let him sit for a year behind Russell and them because, again, they don't even know if their jobs will be there.
Your team isn't good enough to do that.
Right?
Right.
Yeah.
You can do that if you have a good football team. They don't have a good football team.
Yeah.
Would you do it?
What
if you were Joe Shane, would you draft Shedeur Sanders with the 3rd pick?
Unless you're just trying to pull a screw over to your franchise, to the organization, probably not. His biggest attribute he needs to have, or his biggest move he needs to have happen is win football games with his head coach that he's hired. And I think that is, for their sake, getting a veteran quarterback in Russell and having a backup in Jameis that helps sustain. Like right now, the Giants have no sustainability whatsoever to me. And that's the biggest issue. I mean, Malik Neighbors is a guy. Legitimately, getting him a guy that can get the ball to him and see what that offense can turn into. They're dead men walking if they don't win football games with the Giants right now. Right. I mean, in their division in general. Like, you got people walking in with young quarterbacks that's dominating the Super Bowl champions out of your division. That has to hit home. It has to. On top of it, Dallas being on top of you and Jaden Daniels. Like, they are handcuffed right now in a major, major way. So banking on Shedeur to be the savior with those two guys in leadership roles, and that's Shane and that's also Brian Daboll, that's not good business on their end if they choose to go for a rookie quarterback.
And that's why I think we have this in the chat too, but we mentioned this on Friday a couple times. The Raiders or even the Saints, where Shedeur could go and sit for a minute, even sit maybe a couple years under Geno Smith in Seattle with that new deal there, or just 1 year with Derek Carr. Vegas, excuse me. What did I say?
Seattle.
Sorry. With the Raiders. That's a thing where I feel like that could be a process for Shedeur where he could really be his best then if he's able to sit behind leadership and an organization that's not, going to be firing everybody in the next year.
I would not want to do that if I was a Raiders fan, to be honest with you.
Say the guy, go ahead and get some help, right?
Well, it just like you just gave a quarterback $45 million a year. Like, why help him?
Yeah, but then we complain all the time about not developing quarterbacks, and teams are stupid because they don't develop quarterbacks. If you like Shedeur Sanders and you think he can be your future, why not draft him?
Because you just paid Geno Smith.
Yeah, I understand that.
Yeah, so that's why I wouldn't do it.
And the way I look at that one too is I kind of say like him, like you got 2 years with Geno and solely Geno.
Yeah.
Right.
And if you are in this Pete Carroll, reshift my organization, rebuild this program back up, and I think it's more about Pete than it is about like them getting a quarterback, in my opinion.
I think it's more likely they get Will Howard and pair him back up with Chip Kelly. And get him later in the draft because that's their offensive coordinator.
That's a play to be made right there too. And then again, like you got a stud of a tight end there that could potentially be all world and Brock Bowers. Like they do have pieces in place, in my opinion, to go win now. It's a matter of looking at Pete Carroll and can he dismantle the Kansas City Chiefs the same way he in Seattle did with San Francisco and the Rams. Because that was one of the things, if I'm not mistaken, hearing Coach Mack speak about, like, Pete Carroll and the Rams, like, matchup that they had in the NFC West was one of those things that Pete did well. And I'm wondering if that's like think about it. It's Vegas. It's in a division with the Chiefs.
Right.
Like, you got to get Geno some help. And I think Pete Carroll's the type of guy that wants to reset their culture more than anything. So weapons, in my opinion, is probably going to be the biggest thing for them.
He's good at identifying quarterbacks, though, and giving them a chance and helping them. Because he's done it his whole entire career.
I mean, Geno's thankful for that right now.
Yeah.
Geno's thankful for that.
He turned Russ into Russ.
So, yeah, no doubt. And then the other part, too, for them is that's Nash and Genty type spot. Almost in a sense.
Totally.
Because Pete's going to do what?
Connected there.
Yeah, Pete's going to run the ball. And the best way to make Geno better is run the ball.
If they can get him at that spot, for sure.
At 6?
At 6, I think they'll be able
Ashton,
to.
Genty.
I think Genty, I think he makes it no further than Dallas.
I don't think he makes it as far as Chicago.
Straight
to
up.
be honest with you.
Man, don't say that.
I don't think I think if he's available for the Bears to take a 10, I think they will.
His stock is up.
It's no doubt.
I think it's always been that high. It's just a matter of the fit now that we have all the answers to free agency. The Raiders are mocked with Ashton Genty of the Athletics' new mock draft to take him at 6.
Who are again?
The Raiders.
Raiders, yeah.
To take Ashton Genty.
Boy, if he doesn't go to the Raiders and go to Chicago like that.
There's no excuses for Caleb Williams anymore, that's for sure.
Nope.
With a remade offensive line and some receivers, Ashton Genty would be awesome.
That would just be dumb to
Would
let
be
them
very
have
fun.
him.
In the Final Four over the weekend, Florida 79, Auburn 73. Walter Clayton Jr. is that guy. The first player with back-to-back 30-point games in the Elite Eight and Final Four since Larry Bird. Larry Legend. In 1979, the Gators back to the national title game for the first time since their back-to-back titles in 06 and 07. They are on an 11-game winning streak, and, Walter Clayton was hooping.
Filthy.
Hooping on Saturday.
Oh, my gosh. This man is a ball player, man. Do you, like... I was talking to Savage last night. I was like, man, Walter Clayton Jr. I was like, did he play himself in the first round? It's like, played himself. He said, lottery pick. And I was just like, yeah. Like, and again, Dalton Connect walks so Walter Clayton Jr. can run.
Yeah.
Like this age thing, the NBA need to can that. Like they need to absolutely let go. I don't care if the guy's 22, 23 years old. Like if you're where Dalton Connect was a Walter Clayton Jr., and I'll even put Walter Clayton Jr.'s spot, I'll be honest, a tick above what Dalton was. I can honestly say the way he's playing right now, and specifically because he got his team in the national championship, I don't know if anybody can take over a game the way he can. Like, this is reminiscent of, like, everybody getting introduced to Steph Curry in the tournament. Mm-hmm. With Davidson. You know what I'm saying? But, like, Walter Clayton Jr. is doing more with just his opportunities, and not just that, the clutch shots and moments that is that for me that he's absolutely just he's got a katana blade like at this point. Like he's chopping off everything in sight right now. And what can you do? I wasn't even worried in the first half they were down. Like that's where I was with them. Down by 7.
Agreed.
Man, Walter Clayton Jr. over there. Like that's what I was saying. She was just like, well, it looked like all of them. No, they're not. No, they're not. Absolutely not about to do that.
Yeah, he has had a really good tournament. And when you have a player that's that clutch during the tournament, especially, he can turn it on at any time. And Auburn obviously dominated that first half. And Jani Broome had a good first half. And then I think you started to really see it wear on him and some of the injuries that he's had in the tournament in that second half. he was not good. He scored 3 points in terms of Janai Broome in that second half. And I talked about this last week on the show where the Stars had to be the Stars in this matchup particularly. And that was Janai Broome being that in the first half. Unfortunately, you have to play 2 halves in basketball. And that second half, it's never too far away, I feel like, for teams. And even a 10-point lead or whatever, it's not unmanageable. And so with Walter Clayton, when you knew you had this guy, he's been clutch for the past few games, what was going to prove that he couldn't be? I heard Charles Barkley talking after the game and obviously upset being an Auburn alum, but also realistic and saying, Florida with what it did turning on its defense was impressive, but also he wasn't really happy with Bruce Pearl and company. He thought they should have switched things up in the second half and played faster. He also mentioned just the poor guard play. It wasn't good enough for a tournament game like this at this level against that type of team. So when that all comes together, that's what can equal a loss. Florida was a better team.
They just have such a deep front line, and they're so good at protecting the rim and taking away your bigs that it forces you to have a very high level of shot making in order to get looks. You either got to hit jump shots, you got to isolate them on the pick and roll, and then make a lot of tough twos in order to beat Florida. And Auburn did it for 20 minutes. They couldn't do it for 40.
Couldn't do it for 40. And I think it's this part, too. Like, I know guard play definitely does matter in these types of games, and it showed the way he helped facilitate everybody, man. Yep. And here's, I think, the separator between the teams that are left just in general. Nobody has a Walter Clayton Jr. Like, Houston's got good defense. Like,
they got LJ Cryer.
He's clutch.
True too,
I don't know.
He's clutch.
But
clutch.
It makes a really fun matchup tonight.
It does.
Really, really fun. Houston 70, Duke 67. The first question we got to answer, guys, is was it a foul on Cooper Flagg?
No.
Was it a foul on Cooper Flagg?
His arm. First of all, it's hard because his arm's so long and like it just kind of reached out.
What do we want from referees in the final 2 minutes?
It was just him it wasn't him personally doing it intentionally. Like, I feel like that was just the play where his body just kind of flailed out.
I think you could call that on almost every possession if you wanted to.
They weren't. But they weren't calling. I didn't feel like.
Right. No, sure.
My question is, where's the push off?
Yeah.
Going over the back.
Over the back. The body is where it was. Like, I used to think I didn't touch him. It's like, well, your body.
It's certainly questionable. I would rather them not make that call, personally.
And that was, and that came down to be one of the deal breakers because they, the forward, I can't remember his name, Juwan something.
Roberts.
He shot the free throws, gave Houston the lead.
Yeah. That was the difference of the game.
That was the difference in the game. They called him. He went up 1, and that was it. They couldn't. They didn't have a clutch gene in them. As blue as the blood of Duke is, I never imagined that call would be called against them.
Honestly, same. And against Cooper Flagg. Now, granted, if they make their free throws and they don't turn the ball over on an inbounds pass, they see this game out and it doesn't matter. But that was the first question I wanted to ask because I think it is a big question about what we want from referees at the end of games. Do we want them to call it the way they have over the last 38 minutes? Or do we want them to have a higher burden of proof to insert themselves into the game when it's crunch time?
No, I think you have to be consistent.
Duke
with
folded.
Your calls.
Duke folded, though. The
they sure did.
On the inbound.
They really
folded
did.
More than anything.
They were not as tough physically or mentally as Houston when it mattered most.
Yep. No doubt about it.
And they weren't. The big part of that is because they hadn't been tested really like that throughout the season. Like that wasn't.
They had in November and December, but just not since then.
But this is also
they are younger,
Yeah, no doubt
not
they
as
were.
Much battle test in terms of coming back or that type of situation where they fold a little.
Yeah, this is also where Savage said too on our show. This is everywhere that they lost. Neutral site down the stretch. Kentucky, neutral site. Clemson, not at home down the stretch. Everywhere they lost this year was on the road or neutral site down the stretch. And it's exactly what they did in this moment, too, this past Saturday.
Yeah.
It's true.
Sunday.
Same thing happened with them against Kansas.
Sure was.
When they were 4-2 to start the season and back in November.
Exact same thing.
No, you're right. 100% right. And Slay was right, too. So, at the end of the day, Houston and Florida, much more still to come on that as It'll be a lot easier for many fans to choose which side of this game they are on.
I'll tell you what side
than it
we'll
was
choose.
between Bruce Pearl versus Todd Golden over the weekend.
I'm going to put on my orange tinted glasses real quick, if you don't mind.
Okay.
Jamai Mayshak got snubbed.
Yes, he did.
I'm just going to leave
Yes, he
it
did.
right
Ryan
there.
Kalkbrenner, the Defensive Player of the Year yesterday. Jamai Mayshak absolutely got snubbed.
Snubbed.
Yeah.
Oh, my gosh.
You could have regular colored glasses to see that one. It's pretty ridiculous that Jamai Mayshak did not win Defensive Player of the Year yesterday. But Chaz Lanier won the best shooting guard in the country, the Jerry West Award.
I saw that. I saw his huge.
Wasn't all bad over the
So
weekend, but that
congrats to him.
was
flowers given out.
awful.
Absolutely. That was terrible.
NFL headlines as we continue. 615-737-1045. 3 teams begin off-season workouts today. We'll dive into that next. Let me be the first to tell you on April the 7th, the football's back. NFL football happening today in 3 different cities around the league. Yes, that is right. In New England, in New Jersey for the Jets, and in Chicago. Off-season workout programs begin today. Raiders and Jaguars start tomorrow. And that is because teams with rookie head coaches are allowed to start their off-season workout programs 2 weeks earlier than other teams. This time last year, the Titans were starting off-season workouts.
I know. That's hard to imagine right now. I'm like, I'll be ready here soon, but this is early.
The NFL don't stop.
No.
NFL doesn't
don't.
stop. I will not front. I'm so glad I never had to deal with the new head coach stuff, because y'all heard me on the break in here. I was just like, who's starting this early?
Yeah, you had the same guy as your coach the whole time that's still doing it.
I know, man. But I would have hated going up to work this early, just because it's just super early, and coaches are gonna take as much time as they possibly can just to occupy your time. That's all they want to do, is just occupy your time this time of the year. When I got to my second contract and I didn't have to show up the first week of off-season workouts, you want to talk about a luxury. Now, I went up just a week later, but still, it is the less time you can be there in the off-season, for the most part, is sometimes the best, because you can be around each other a little bit too long at times.
Sure. And
you need that break. So April 7th is an early start time.
It is really early. And I think I looked at what the Titans were doing in terms of meeting. It was like around the 22nd, I think.
22nd?
Is when
That's
they
perfect.
were going to start to
That's perfect.
gather up there. But it is early. And the only benefit of that, guys, is, like you said, a new coach, and like last year, you thought it would be possibly a benefit with Brian Callahan being able to get together a little bit earlier with guys like Will Levis and some of his offensive staff. And I do feel like that probably helped him get a head start, but in the long run, I think we all knew what happened with that.
Maybe that was part of probably the problem too. I mean, legitimately, like Coach Callahan, I feel like if you look at the situation, probably created it or had a very intimate relationship with like Will Levis and just the exchange of information. Like, I legitimately do think like him being able to get the playbook early, go ask him all the questions that he wants, probably got very comfortable with this first time around, like assessing Will Levis and trying to believe in everything that he had for him. And that's probably why we got the play that we got this past season too, just on the basis of like he thought he knew everything. And instead of you being the coach to say, hey, you know what? We're still going to go slow with this. It could be too much too soon for some guys. And I will still contend that's how I feel about what happened last year with Coach Callahan and Will Levis. It was too much too soon, but the belief in the offseason that he could handle it all was new head coach. It was a rookie head coach, not understanding the weight of that situation.
Titans starts off-season workouts April 22nd. OTAs will be May 27th to 28th, May 30th, June 3rd, or 2nd and 3rd, and June 5th. Mandatory minicamp for the Titans is June 10th through 12th. A Titans legend is retiring. Julio Jones, calling it quits over the weekend. What was your favorite Julio Jones Titans memory?
Do you want to make this? You guys are going to laugh your butts off
Which
at this
one
because
is
it wasn't a play.
What was it?
I remember one of the first days that he got there, and a lot of us will do that practice video where people just go to town with it. Like when a new player comes and they see them doing something cool in practice for the first time, people love it on the internet. Like it just explodes. And that was one of those moments where Julio Jones, I think it was his first time out at practice, and everybody was excited.
Doing foot ladders.
And he was doing foot ladders. And I remember recording the foot ladders and he was going so quick and he looked so impressive, and that blew up everywhere. And little did we know that it just wasn't going to work out.
No, it did not.
So that was one of my brief moments of Julio Jones getting excited.
I didn't even expect to get an answer on that. I was kind of asking a rhetorical question, but that's a good answer.
Well, that was an answer as crappy as it was.
I guess mine would probably be the Nunn moment where his foot stepped out of bounds.
That's the one I was going to say, too.
That was a good
It
one.
was 100% a touchdown.
It's easy.
100% a touchdown.
Easy touchdown.
Yep.
But then again, in a lesson that you should always wear white cleats
Yeah.
Yes.
if you're a receiver. Always.
That was a
100%.
conversation afterward, too.
It was, yeah.
It was,
Should've been.
man. Or that moment, all of his moments weren't great. Like, he's a great
That's
player.
the point.
I mean,
That was the point of me saying, which moment was your favorite?
So
and
many
that there was
before
supposed to be
that.
crickets.
I got another one though. It's off the field too, Kayla. It's the him and John Robinson hug around the private jet one.
Yeah.
Was that the beginning of the end? It was. It was the beginning of the end right there.
The beginning of the end was after the ladder drill that he did because it was all downhill from there. All
that
downhill
was the
from
peak.
there. 615-737-1045. Let's go to Chuck in Gallatin. First up on the phones this morning. Hey, Chuck.
Y'all got me rolling. Ramon,
Yes.
man, keep them glasses on.
Why is that?
It feels good. It feels good to wear orange now. We ain't in that Pruitt. We ain't in that Derek Dooley.
Call him out there.
You have to do some long suffering. Bible says long suffering. Yeah, we went through it dry spell. Man, I was just calling to tell you congrats. I listened to you on Big Orange Sunday with Dave Matthews.
Yes, sir.
Doug Matthews.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, let's get it right. The coach.
Coach. Yes, sir.
Yeah. Johnny Mazurs, all the way to Bill Battle, to all the way, go way back. General Robert Needland. Man, you got to represent good. Bring some excitement to this ball network. Give him 6! 6! Can't wait, man.
Can't wait.
I love it. Thank you,
Got
Chuck.
me fired up.
Chuck, me too, man. I hope y'all are
y'all
fine
doing
this
a good
weekend too,
job.
Chuck.
Man, and do me a favor. Pass it along to the Titans. Get their butt out there 24/7 on that practice field.
Thank you, Chuck. Appreciate the call.
I'll let him know, Chuck.
Chuck tired.
They're
of
probably
it.
listening. I think Chuck just let
Get
him
your
know.
butt out on the practice field 24/7, Titans.
Hey.
I love that line.
Thank you, Chuck.
And
Appreciate
Chuck
it.
kept
Great
it clean too, man. He used the
He did.
Lord and he kept it clean right there.
My finger was hovering.
Chuck
over
had
the
a
button.
very
Mine
distinct voice, too. I mean, he could go into acting with it. Just
Hey.
that natural voice. of his.
Chuck was solid with it, man. I appreciate that call.
Coming up, hour 2 of the show, 615-737-1045. Kelvin Sampson sends a statement in Houston's bounce back win over Duke. We'll talk about it next.
7 o'clock from the 104.5 Zone Studios. Good morning. I'm Justin Hawkins. There will be no private workout today, this month, with Shedeur Sanders and Travis Hunter with the Titans, per Jim Wyatt. They will leave it with the game film, scouting, and attending their pro day they described as very impressive. In the men's Final Four, Florida rallied past Auburn 79-73 with the help of Walter Clayton Jr.'s 34 points to reach their first title game appearance since 2007. They're seeking their third title. The madness continued in the second game as Houston made a late comeback to beat Duke 70-67. Cougars led by L.J. Cryer's 26 points, playing in all 40 minutes. This is Cougars' first title game appearance since 1984, and they've never won. The championship is tonight in San Antonio, Florida. Houston tipping off at 7:50. You can hear Westwood One's coverage starting at 6 right here on 104.5 The Zone. And then the women, UConn and head coach Gino Auriemma return to the top of women's basketball as they dominate South Carolina 82-59. They capture their 12th title and their first since 2016. And the NHL, the Ovi watch is over. Washington Capitals winger Alex Ovechkin scored his 895th career NHL goal Sunday against the New York Islanders, breaking Wayne Gretzky's record of 894. He does it in his 1,487th career game, the same amount as Gretzky. For all your foundation repair and waterproofing needs, you have to go to USSTN.com. Breaking news at once for your home for the Titans and the Vols. This is 104.5 The Zone.
RKW on 104.5 The Zone is brewed by Scooters Coffee. Going into hour 2, 7 a.m. Coming up, Stoney Keeley of Football and Other F Words is scouting tight ends with us this morning. We have got 3 more pre-draft visits with Stoney. We're going to talk tight ends this week. We were going to do inside linebackers next week, so we've not done that with him yet. We will have covered every position by that point, and then we'll just get a final Cam Ward breakdown with him the week of the draft. Kurzall here, 615-737-1045 is the number. Houston and Florida tonight after Kelvin Sampson's Houston Cougars get the job done on Saturday night, beating Duke. The most efficient offense in almost 30 years, according to numbers, made 1 field goal in the final 10 minutes and 30 seconds. That is why we play the games and why the numbers don't decide everything in college hoops and in every other sport. Houston was terrific Saturday night. What a comeback.
Do we still have to say, even in basketball, defense wins championships? Like, are we
Sometimes.
there? It seems like it on Saturday. I was just like, goodness gracious, like they really clamped them down. That turnover on the inbound, that did it. That absolutely did it, man. And again, you got to give it up to him. Cooper Flagg is nice like that, but you can tell Houston plays like they've been together for a while. I don't know why. It seems like they just have a different vibe out there, man. And their coach was steady about it for sure. And again, simple mistakes down the stretch cooked them. Duke fans were losing it, and rightfully so this past weekend. Love that for them.
Yeah, I mean, Duke is a younger team compared to Houston by all accounts. I mean, even from the coaching standpoint, right? And Duke is a talented team at that, though. And I believed if Houston could take down Duke in this situation, it's going to be interesting for Florida. And I have Florida to win it all. However, what I saw from Houston in that comeback, it is hard to doubt that team. What Calvin Sampson has installed in his players, they take the identity of their coach. No doubt about it. Yeah. We say that sometimes, but that is definitely the case in this situation. He has had experience in these Final Fours. The team now it has experience in tournaments. And I think that after you see something like that, you can't count him out. I think he said that at the end, like, watch out for Houston or something after the game. And that's why this game against Florida, I think it might be closer than I initially thought.
Yeah.
I think that Houston could pull an upset in a way, if you want to call it an upset.
Here is Kelvin Sampson, Houston head coach, talking his talk after beating Duke on Saturday night.
Final Four, they're gunning for that national title. Over to Tracy.
Well, thanks a lot, Coach. You came over and you said, heck of a game. 11-1 run to end this. How would you describe the resiliency
means you don't quit. Now, when you quit, then I don't care if you've lost. Our thing in our timeouts, man, we've been here before. It's not like we were down 20. It's not like we were playing great. We felt like if we could get it close enough to put some game pressure on them, then something good could happen. But all the credit, all the glory goes to God, and all the credit goes to these unbelievable young men I get to coach. I'm so blessed I get to coach these kids.
You talk about these kids. You've talked all season long about the experience factor. A guy like this, Juwan, what they did down the stretch. How lucky is it to have these guys on your team in these moments?
Well, it's lucky to have them, but it's not lucky that they do what they do, because that's work. They trust their work. They trust their teammates. You know, I hear what people say. You know, Duke this, Duke that. Duke's great. John Shire is awesome. But don't sleep on Houston. Don't sleep on Houston. We went 34-4 playing in the Toy Poodle League. We were 19-1 in the Big 12. Playing in the Big 12 helped us. Shout out to my Big 12 brethren, Coach Brett Yormark, and all the great coaches in the Big 12.
Kelvin Sampson.
I love it.
Not in the Toy Poodle League. That is a great line after
I
beating
love
Duke
him.
Saturday night.
He wasn't taking a shot at what Duke had going on.
Take a shot at the ACC. That's what he was taking a shot at.
Talk your talk, Kelvin.
That one was a bit direct.
I didn't know he was that type of guy, man.
69, man, he can say what he wants.
He can. He's been around a time or two, man, but he's got the right type of guys to deliver his message. I think you said that a second ago, Kayla, as it pertains to like they take on his personality.
For sure.
You don't see them doing a whole lot. Like their play speaks for them in a lot of ways. The physicality of their play, man. Got to give it up to their big two. Juwan Roberts, man, held his own, man, against Cooper Flagg. That last defensive stand he had against Cooper Flagg was elite. And not just that. I'm Kaman Malawa, I think is his Malawach, the big from Duke.
Had a rough night.
He did have a rough night.
He was minus 21 in 20 minutes on the floor.
Oof.
That's hard to do.
That's bad.
Respectfully.
Yikes.
Yeah.
He had really gotten better the whole season, but against those physical Houston bigs that aren't very big, that's the thing, but they're long. They've got a bunch of these just 6'8", 6'9" big men, and Roberts is right there amongst all of them, that they play a lot bigger than they actually are because their arms are just so long and they're so physical inside.
They were, man. And it was times where you saw Malawach, the big from Duke, just look like a freshman.
Yeah,
like it looked
sure.
like he was taught basketball, because here you have Juwan Roberts, if I'm not mistaken, is a lefty. He allowed him to spin off of him a time or two going to his right simply because he was just only trying to stop the left turn. I was thinking to myself, like, that's flagrant. When he spun and dunked on him and down the baseline, I was just like, yep, he's cooked at that point, man. So we can give, Duke a whole lot of hell about like, hey, yeah, they folded. But like throughout the course of the game, that type of stuff was happening. And when you don't get help from anybody other than Cooper Flagg or Con Knipple, like that's what you run yourself into. I didn't think their guards, man, the small guards did enough to help them out over the course of that game as it pertains to what Houston was able to do to Duke.
Kaman Malawach was minus 20 in 21 minutes, and he had 0 rebounds.
Yeah.
Now, it's not all on one player, obviously, but that was a key storyline and why Houston was able to rebound 43% of its misses.
Yep.
They rebounded 43% of their missed shots. So that sets up a really interesting contrast to styles tonight between a Florida team that has got a very deep front line with Haw, with Condon, with Chinyelu, with Hanlockton, who's been back, and those guards against the outstanding perimeter defenders in Cryer, in Sharp, in Uzan. I mean, this is heavyweight versus heavyweight. Any way you spin this matchup, I am glued to the TV tonight. This is going to be, I think, an outstanding game. Nothing will surprise me. I am done counting out Houston. Every time, including against Tennessee, I thought it was Houston's time to bow out. Heck, I thought Gonzaga would beat them the way Gonzaga was playing down the stretch. They almost did. But Houston is just that team you just keep doubting, and you just keep doubting, and you just keep doubting. And at some point, we all learn our lesson that maybe they're just that team of destiny.
Yeah, I want to see how Condon does against Juwan Roberts. I do.
It's a really interesting matchup.
That's a real interesting matchup because you got a lot more offense, I feel like, out of Condon at times, or the ability to work around the rim to where, look, Houston plays physical, but Florida's coming out of the SEC also where I feel like this could be close to a football game than it is basketball.
I mean, seriously.
Sure.
And that's the only part I bring up as far as like watching Juwan Roberts work the big from Duke, and I want to see if he has that same energy for the bigs out of Florida. Not that he won't, because as both of y'all have said, you can't doubt Houston and what they're bringing to the matchup. And then also, too, like hearing their coach give that spiel at the end, they coming in with an underdog's mentality easily. Although I'm looking at the matchup predictor, 65% of America got it going to Florida. Got it going to Houston, though.
And that might be.
This is just one, but
I mean, I think I see more people picking Florida at this point.
Yeah.
However, I think people are more convinced that Houston could be that team now with them getting over Duke. I think that's what had to really convince me, because I could have flipped the coin with Duke and Florida, but because they play such a tenacious style of defense and because they can come back at any moment, like you just can't count them out of this game at all.
No.
Like I almost want to give them an edge in a way, but then on the other side, you've got guys that are lighting it up, right? So it's tough to pick this one. Does the defense win this one? Does the well-versed team that can do different things that goes deep in their lineup? Like, it's just a flip of the coin.
It's two guys for me that's going to have to step up in a major way to kind of free up Walter Clayton Jr. And that is Elijah Martin.
Okay.
Has to be a menace for Florida. That's what he always is. He's the guy that's I don't want to call him agitator. He's a tone setter for them. And it's a guy coming off the bench still, Denzel Aberdeen. Those two guys right there going toe-to-toe with Cryer and just that front or that back court of Houston is where I think you set the tone this game. Because if you don't, looking at Houston be able to score as of late or play in the mud with them, if they can't free up Walter Clayton Jr. to do his thing, that's going to be problematic for sure.
SEC looking for its first title since Florida won in 2007. Houston looking for its first title ever to do something that the five Slamma-Jamma couldn't do with Akeem Olajuwon back in the 80s. Going to be a fun one tonight, of course, right here on The Zone, where you can hear it courtesy of Westwood One. Coming up, Stoney Keeley of Football and Other F Words, the official RKW draft analyst, scouts NFL draft tight ends with us after this. Hey, it's Will Bowling. Do you have a ceiling light fixture that flickers? Do you need an extra outlet or two? Or maybe do you just have wall switches that don't seem to work? Some days they're great, some days not so much. Well, these all seem to be simple issues. However, they are rarely do-it-yourself projects. Dealing with electricity requires the expertise of an experienced professional. You've got to call the electricians over at Lee Company. Their electrical team can solve any problem you have safely and efficiently. And right now, you can enjoy $30 off your next electrical visit. Just contact Lee Company today at 615-567-1000 or head online to leecompany.com to schedule your appointment. Again, that's $30 off your next electrical visit. Do what I do and trust the folks with over 80 years of experience helping Middle Tennesseans with their electricity, with their HVAC, their plumbing needs. You name it, Lee Company will take care of it. Online at leecompany.com. That's Lee Company, all you need.
Do you want to look and feel better about yourself? Hey, it's Kayla Anderson. I went to We Grow Hair, grew my hair back, and it was the biggest confidence boost ever. I've been on my journey for almost 10 months now, and you can too. All you got to do is call them 615-376-6010. We Grow Hair has been doing it right here in Nashville at the highest level for almost 30 years with proven solutions that work. No one in Tennessee has the ARTIS robotic FUE procedure, and We Grow Hair's high-density hair transplants. It's going to give you 2 times more hair in just one procedure. You could also do something just to grow the hair back if you're losing it in the temples like I was. The fast 45-minute laser and PRP treatments, that's for men and women. Backed by the only company I trust to help my thinning hair. It's We Grow Hair. You can call them right now, 615-376-6010, or go to WeGrowHair.com.
One word that comes to mind when you think about Genesis Diamonds, integrity. This is a company built on a solid foundation with total transparency and honesty. This is why they don't have commission salespeople. They pay their employees, not you. So they aren't under pressure to sell you anything, and you aren't any pressure to buy anything. They share with you the long-held secrets of the diamond industry, teaching you the tricks to maximize the value of your purchase. They show you how to buy like a dealer buys. Also, another thing at Genesis Diamonds, they don't play the pricing games. Unlike other jewelers, they work on a very small margin. They don't mark up to mark down prices either. They offer the best value price every day. When they do have a sale, it's the real deal, not a phony event. And we're lucky to have Genesis here. They're not another big box corporate chain store. They're locally owned, but with international connections that guarantee no middleman pricing on every diamond. And don't forget, only Genesis has the top bridal designer brands that everyone wants. They were handpicked by all the top designers because only Genesis meets the highest standards in quality and customer care that these designers demand. You will love the experience there. Trust me, Genesis Diamonds are located in Green Hills and Cool Springs.
RKW is brewed by Scooters Coffee on 104.5 The Zone Monday morning with Ramon Foster and Kayla Anderson. I am Will Bowling. Pleased to be joined by the official RKW draft expert. 17 days away from round one, where the Tennessee Titans will take Cam Ward. He is Stoney Keeley joining us this morning. Stoney, what's up, man? How we doing?
Doing okay, Will. No, you know what? I'm going to be honest with you guys. I'm transparent. I am running on fumes at this point. Zach and I are working tirelessly to get this draft guide for stacking the inbox wrapped up. We're at about 150 prospects right now. Wow. Trying to see this thing through the finish line. And like I was just telling Justin before I came on here, I'm just happy I didn't sleep through my alarm this morning. Right now, like, if you saw me right now, you'd probably ask me if I'm doing okay. So you know what,
bro? We
got tight ends to talk about. Everybody loves a good tight end, and we got a few of them in this class.
I love it. Just means there's more Scooters Coffee in your very near future, Stoney. Before we get into tight ends, who is the most recent prospect you watched film on? Like how deep and how random are we getting here?
So let's see. I just added Sal Wormley, the right guard out of Penn State, to the draft guide yesterday. Got a text promptly after that from Zach saying, "Who is this? I swear you're just making people up."
Love that. That's why you're our guy, Stoney. I absolutely love it. Good stuff. All right, so when we look at tight ends, Stoney, how far is the gap between Tyler Warren and the other tight ends in this group? Because Tyler Warren was kind of crowned as that guy early, and rightfully so, with the production he had at Penn State. How do you evaluate him versus the guys right behind him, or is there anyone close to his level?
Yeah, so I like Tyler Warren a lot. He is number 7 overall on my big board at this moment, and considering I'm doing guys like Sal Wormley at this point, I don't think anybody's going to be threatening that 7th spot for Tyler Warren. I like him quite a bit. I do think that Colston Loveland out of Michigan is being a little underrated. He's the only other guy that I have sniffing around the top 35. And then there is like a Grand Canyon-sized gap between those two guys and the rest of the pack. But what I like so much about Tyler Warren is that I don't think a lot of what he does really shows up until you watch the tape. And I would kind of equate it to, like, if you watch Kyle Juszczyk, the fullback for the San Francisco 49ers. That's kind of an abstract comparison here, but just walk with me on this one. You don't really understand what Kyle Juszczyk means to the San Francisco 49ers offense until you really dig into it and watch the tape and you see it. Like, on the surface, he might not look like that impactful of a player, but when you watch, you kind of realize, man, this whole offense flows through this one player. And Tyler Warren is that player for Penn State. The utility is there. I don't know what you call the Wildcat when you run it with a tight end, but they will put him back there and shotgun and snap the ball directly to him. They motion him under center from out wide for I guess a tight end sneak. Again, like, I don't know what to call these things when you're running them with a tight end, but Tyler Warren is just that dude. They line him up as an X receiver. They use him on screens. Of course, he's an inline blocker. The dude is a weapon. I mean, smooth, tough strider, seems to accelerate into contact, and maybe that's just the caveman in me coming out, but I like a guy that's going to run into the fray like that. Elusive jump cut, natural hands. He's a hammer as an inline blocker, just relentless, and has some nice adjustment ability when the ball's a little bit off. I mean, honestly, I didn't have too many bad notes on Tyler Warren. I think he can run a little high at times, and that can affect his balance. He can be knocked down a little bit easier if he's a little top-heavy. I think his blocking in space can be a little off at times. And what I mean by that is just, when they have you cross the formation to kick out the defensive end on the other side as a blocker, he can whiff on those blocks sometimes. He gets washed out when he's blocking laterally, has to move side to side, more of a vertical displacement kind of guy. But, man, he's really the total package that I think is going to shine with an expanded workload in the NFL.
Stoney Keeley with us this morning, football and other F words. When it comes down to your draft coverage, I think there's one other guy by the name of Robert Walsh that finds these random names also.
No doubt.
Just so you know. And he was one of the first, no, he was the first person to put me on this guy I'm actually about now, Harold Fannin Jr. So I'm down at the Senior Bowl, man. He got a funny running motion, like he drags his arm like he a bad kid running away from somebody. But he's productive, man. Like, how do you view him at 230-ish pounds, man, as an NFL tight end?
Yeah, so first of all, Ramon, Burton and I will be texting each other about Willie Lampkin, the undersized center out of North Carolina, all throughout the week. So I know about Burt's game. Nothing but respect to Burt's game. Harold Fannin Jr. is an interesting guy. I think some teams may look at him and see a tweener, a guy that may be too big and slow to play wide receiver, but maybe not necessarily physical enough to play tight end. I think he's kind of an inconsistent blocker. I will say that, you know, people act like he can't block and he's just a receiving tight end. There were a couple of moments at the Senior Bowl, Ramon, where I thought he really got in there and dug his guy out. I mean, it's not the best blocking tape in the class, but we got to give credit where it's due. Fannin is capable. Every once in a while, he'll clean someone's clock. And to me, that kind of gives him a path forward in the NFL. With him, I like the versatility in the passing game. I think you see him running hitch routes out wide. He's got a really good nose against zone coverage, good on slant routes, breaking in from out wide. There is some juice to add to a passing attack with Fannin Jr. Plays a little bit of running back, gets out into the flat. He's up the seam in line, even got some work at fullback. I think he's probably – there was some chatter among draft media back in December, I think when only the nerds were talking about the draft at that point, that he might threaten to be the second tight end off the board. I think the Senior Bowl, the Combine, those things impacted that, but I do still think that there's the slide is not going to be as far as some people suggest it might be. I still think there's value to be had in the weapon that he can be for your passing attack in the NFL.
So I actually just want to stay right there with him, man, on Harold Fannin Jr. Is it because you know, you mentioned him not being a great blocker and in that situation, but like coming out of Bowling Green, it's not like they're producing high round picks every year, and they had a weapon, a very unique weapon. Do you see he's incapable of blocking, Stoney, or is it, hey, Bowling Green found a guy, they use that guy, and they use him a lot. Like you said, coming out of the backfield and everything, is that how you view him? It's just he's a victim of his circumstance, and an NFL coach can put him on a heavy bag every day in practice, kind of get some blocking out of him?
Yeah, I'm glad you asked that, because that is one of my core philosophies as an evaluator, is that just because a guy didn't really do it in college, it's foolish of us to just say that he can't do it at the next level. Like, speaking in absolutes, just shutting that door on him. That's why I mentioned, every once in a while you see a really good block from him, because to me it's in those moments, in those plays, where you see a guy that can do it. And like you said, if you get him with the right coach and they can work on that, there is some untapped potential there with Fannin Jr. that I think people are being a little too harsh on him for. I watched him at the Senior Bowl, and I thought his blocking was adequate. And like I said, there were a couple of times I jotted down in my notes during practice, and I was like, man, he really, crossed the formation, dug out the end man at the line of scrimmage, and opened a lane for the running back behind him, that sort of thing. So that's why I look at it and say he's capable of it. I would like to see him, maybe put a little more bulk on his frame, maybe add a little more power, a little more oomph to the blocks, for sure. But you can't fault Bowling Green, who probably doesn't just have 5-star weapons sitting on the bench. They can come in and take over a game like that. You can't fault Bowling Green for wanting to use this guy as the versatile chess piece that he is.
Stoney Keeley, our draft analyst, and of course you can check him out on the Football and Other F Words podcast. We're talking a little bit of the tight ends in this year's NFL draft. And let's go down to a teammate of Cam Ward's down there in Miami. I know Ramon Foster here said that at the Senior Bowl, he really liked Elijah Arroyo and what he saw out of him there. Obviously, he comes with some injury concerns. What is he in terms of a NFL offense and how he can contribute?
Yeah, I think he's a pretty interesting jack of all trades kind of tight end. I mean, if you're going to go play for Mario Cristobal, you know you're going to have to block. I think he is a good blocker, good form, gets his feet set wide, hands up and inside. He blocks with foot drive. You like to see that sort of stuff. He's a bit versatile as well, lined up as an inline tight end, as a big slot, out wide. He has some juice, can really like wedge in between zones, sit down on the route. Nice little shoulder shimmy to bait defenders at times when he sees a man in the open field. He's got a long frame. He can separate through contact. He has an element of physicality to his game. I think you worry about the straight line speed a little bit in situations where he ends up in a foot race one-on-one. I think he struggles to maintain distance throughout the rep. And you mentioned, Kayla, the knee injury. He missed significant time in 2022 and 23, I believe. It might have been 21 with the knee injury. And you wonder about longevity at the next level. I like him for the Titans because he has that built-in chemistry with Cam Ward. Well, I should say, should they draft Cam Ward, he would be a good option because of his chemistry. I think to play with Cam Ward, you've got to have a little element of backyard football to his game. We saw it with guys like Xavier Restrepo, Sam Brown in that offense as well. Cam Ward thrives, excels when the play breaks down, making plays out of structure. And I think to keep that offense humming, you've got to match that energy as a pass catcher. And I think all of these guys did it well, identifying openings and keeping the play alive, adjusting at the top of their route to shake defensive backs and just, hit that scramble drill when it's just, the moment the play breaks down, all bets are off, everything's breaking loose, you got to get open. These guys can do it, and Arroyo is no different.
Stoney Keeley with us this morning. We're breaking down tight ends in this upcoming NFL draft. So obviously the bloodline with Mason Taylor, we know what that is. But in terms of the NFL, how does that translate his game? A bigger guy, 225, 6'5". He was also down there at that Senior Bowl, Stoney. Yeah,
I think there is a very fine quality about Mason Taylor, and that's what I jotted down in my evaluation. Very fine. Very fine at just about everything. He is kind of a more traditional Y tight end, inline blocker with good form, big reliable target in the passing game. I think the thing that I was most impressed about with him was his ability in pass pro to really be able to mirror and absorb edge rushers, to be able to kind of stick with them at the edge. I don't think you see a whole lot of tight ends that can really hold up sustaining those blocks in pass pro. Not an explosive guy, but he's shifty. He's got some good hands, and you mentioned the frame, Kayla, and he can really square up and body up against the defenders to catch the ball. I don't think he's very explosive. I think he's more of the shifty, traditional Y tight end type. And if that's what you're looking for in this draft, Mason Taylor is a fine option.
Stoney Keeley, our guest. Make sure you subscribe to Stacking the Inbox. That's where you also get the NFL draft guide that Stoney has emerged from his bunker in making to talk with us this morning. Stoney, Terrence Ferguson is the only tight end we know has taken a top 30 visit with the Tennessee Titans. What do you think they like about him?
Yeah, so it's interesting. I think there's a disparity between the tape and his performance at the Senior Bowl. I think they're probably looking at a guy that just does a little bit of everything. I think he's got a really solid frame. I mean, my gosh, if you hit this guy in the stomach with a baseball bat, you'd break both your hands. He's built that hard. Long frame, can pluck down balls out of the sky. Great athlete. He was a fantastic tester at the combine. I think there's some sloppy blocking on his tape where he's not sustaining. He's not really aiming and hitting the way that he should. But I feel like he kind of fits the role of this is a guy that can kind of help us in the run game and run blocking, but can also, when we need him to go 10 yards down the field and just catch a jump ball, that sort of thing. I think there are some inconsistencies with him, but you look at the frame, you look at the body type, and he adds a little bit of size and a little bit of versatility to the tight end room, and they need it. I mean, I don't know if you guys have talked about it yet or not, but it feels like the Titans are kind of due for an addition into the tight end room.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe to fill the Nick Vannett role, but maybe to add a little juice as a playmaker too. And if they're leaning towards that, I think Ferguson is a good day 3 value to get a little more juice in the passing game too.
And Stoney, that's where I was about to go. If they want to use a premium pick, I mean, they're at 103 in the 4th round. Obviously, they don't have the 3rd round option to take one of these guys at the top of this draft. Who have we not talked about who you feel like could be a fit, starting with that 103rd pick as someone who fits into this offense and could add some value into a room and maybe even push Chig Okonkwo eventually to be the lead tight end of this team?
Yeah, so I think I get the idea that they are definitely going to want to fill the Nick Vannett role. And so I think later on in the draft, my prediction is that they're going to take one of these blocking tight ends, unless they feel like these guys are going to slip through the cracks and are going to be available as undrafted free agents. I think there's an entire crop of guys that are going to be available on day 3 that are sort of blocking specialists. I would start with Jackson Hawes out of Georgia Tech, a guy that has seen his draft stock rise throughout the process, 6'4", 253 pounds. For wrestling fans out there, this dude is like The Undertaker. He will bury you alive. He blocks like he's mad at the world. Good hands, good base, power, and the desire to put you in the dirt. This is a dude that said at the combine, I am looking to put my face mask under someone's chin. He wants to inflict punishment. This is a guy that, when you need him to, he can make a catch to move the chains, too. We saw it at the Senior Bowl, had a really nice one-handed grab over the shoulder to the flat, turn and run for about 10 yards before the defender even got to him. So he's got that in his bag, but make no mistake about it, he is on that field for one thing and one thing only, and it is to sit people down as a blocker. And I think he would be a perfect complement to the tight end room as it is. I think C.J. Dupree from Alabama is being vastly underrated. He was pretty much exclusively used as a blocker at Alabama, but the guy blocks like an offensive tackle. I mean, it is his specialty. He's got the frame for it. But then he goes to the combine and posts a 9.47 relative athletic score, which for those that don't know is one of the metrics that I use heavily. It's something that translates at the NFL level. But he flashed some chops as a pass catcher at the Senior Bowl, which is where I saw him. I thought he's a smooth mover with speed on crossing mesh concepts where he can just kind of spring free across the formation if he gets through traffic. He's nimble, has a great first step to get out and around the edge to get up the seam. He's got potential as a pass catcher, but he is established as a blocker. I think either of those guys would be great additions for the Titans.
Stoney Keeley, you hear him on Football and Other F Words. You hear him Mondays here leading up to the draft at 7:20 here on the show. StackingTheInbox.substack.com, where the draft guide and all of Stoney's analysis in written form can be found. 2.5 weeks away, Stoney. We're almost there. Appreciate you as always, sir. Thank you.
We're getting there. Thank y'all. Let's
Thanks,
go have
Stoney.
a Monday.
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Stoney Keeley with us this morning as he will go back into his bunker and continue looking at 7th round right guard prospects.
Respect,
Guy
Stoney.
brings it.
Seriously.
We appreciate your hard work. And
Absolutely.
Yeah, you can never tell us that he doesn't know his stuff, man. I mean, for him to be able to just, we don't give him our stuff ahead of time, by the way.
Yeah.
So for us to rattle off names and for him to have that deep of a breakdown, very impressive.
He's good at it. I got to give it to him.
Very
man.
good.
Tight ends, they definitely are in the market for and have to be moving forward.
Today is a very, very big day for college athletics. We'll talk about it next.
It's Ramon Foster for Secure Lawn. Good people, this is the company that you want to call, all right? If you want a company who will be here for you year after year, it's Secure Lawn. If you want a company that's not getting sold to a bigger company, it is Secure Lawn. Secure Lawn creates lifelong customers, man, by providing a prime service to its customers. And you're probably asking, what does it mean? It means having their team members properly trained and prepared to provide you with the best service that you can possibly get for your lawns. Listen, it's not about a bunch of sales with them. No, they're about doing good business with you. And that's also making sure you have no weeds and just craziness going on in your yard. If you're like me, you care about your grass. You like the way it looks. You like to have it thick. You like to have no weeds at all. This is the company that you need. If you need your trees trimmed or shrubs planted, this isn't the company for that, all right? But if you want your grass looking like something out of a magazine, you got to give them a call to them. They've been here in Middle Tennessee for over 20 years. A family owned and operated, man, and just local. The punctual, quick response time at all times. And they protect all types of grass too, whether it be residential, commercial, or even athletic fields. So go ahead and get started and reach out to the company I trust. You can call them at 615-893-8455 or go to securelawn.com.
Don't think that there's something wrong with your house and that's why it's not selling. You just need an expert and proven marketing from a real estate agent like Bernie Gallerani. He and his real estate team market homes to thousands of buyers every single month, and that creates demand for properties just like yours. And that's exactly what can get you top dollar for your home. That's what we all want. Bernie Gallerani has more than 200 five-star Google reviews. He guarantees to sell your home in 30 days or less, or he's just going to buy it from you. All you have to do to get started, it's simple. Just Google Bernie Gallerani Real Estate, or you can go to BernieGallerani.com or just give him a call on his cell phone, 615-428-2644. That's 615-428-2644.
Wrapping up the first half of the show this morning, RKW is brewed by Scooters Coffee, 615-737-1045. Today is a very big day for college athletics, guys. Judge Claudia Wilkins today will hear arguments during an approval hearing on the House settlement, 3 consolidated settlements, House versus NCAA, Hubbard versus NCAA, and Carter versus NCAA, that will have long-standing ramifications on the college athletics landscape. So, if you are a college basketball coach or program, you are trying to get NIL deals done today before noon, and you're in a dead period, so good luck with that, because NIL deals might look totally different after noon today. House settlement, the ability to pay players could potentially begin today. We don't know if we'll get a full agreement or full settlement today. Many in the business expect that to happen and expect a 5th year to be given to athletes all around college athletics. That is not expected to include this year's athletes and this year's seniors, but would start moving forward, which is very unlucky for Tennessee basketball fans that if Zakai Ziegler, Jemai Meshack, Chaz Lanier had just been 1 year younger, would have been able to have them for another year.
Another year. That's 5 eligible years to play. So there's still a red shirt attached to this too?
I believe so. And again, these are murky waters we have not yet waded into. But big changes are coming as early as today. And the direct amount that universities will pay its student athletes is a little uncertain. But the expectation is there will be a maximum of $23.1 million available to pay student athletes at any given school this first season. And then there is over $1 billion in back pay to athletes that were NCAA athletes starting in 2016 when these suits began.
Holy smokes.
Technically, I could still go to a website and get I think $50 as a part of this because I was an athlete for 2 semesters in the year 2016. But anyway, big day for college athletics. Everything could change today.
Ramon, you're like, dang it.
Yeah.
Why couldn't this have gone back just a little bit?
I went back and
a little bit I can get.
I went back and found my NCAA clearinghouse ID to go try to put it in there, and it said it was like the day that thing opened, and it didn't find me yet, so I need to go find it again and try it again.
Sure.
That's wild.
It is. It's 2 things. Well, it's one thing for me for sure up front. Like the landscape of college life has just changed so much more. Like it used to be get in and get out as quick as you possibly can to make it to the next level. Or for the coaches, look, you're 4th year senior, you play 15 snaps for us, leave. Like you get the opportunity now. By that 5th year, like you're a grown man status out there, and you may actually contribute to your team. So a part of me do like it because, I mean, for athletes, you don't get the opportunity, I feel like, to really gain real life experiences as far as like the job force, because everybody don't go pro. That's one of the things in the NCAA said. Not everybody goes pro, but having the ability to get more education, get more time to the late adulthood. I mean, there's benefits for it, but there's also the back end of it. It's like you also are log jamming the guys coming out of high school at this point. So it's unique. The only other problem, or the other thing I would like to bring up too is the fact that what is the cap? Like, because if we're talking about how do you get very competitive, you mentioned it being about $23 million. If it's true, I mean, that only leaves like $3 million for the rest of Ohio State, in a sense, right?
Well, and that's where the NIL dollars will come into play because NIL will still be a part of this in some capacity. The question is, how much are schools allowed to facilitate NIL deals with a collective? We don't know what the future of collectives looks like, which is a reason why basketball coaches are trying to get these deals done in the transfer portal as quickly as possible to get things on paper now that they can't overturn, because after Monday at noon, we don't know what we will be able to facilitate and give you.
As of late, we've heard, I've stated this before, I actually heard Carmelo Anthony say it recently too. The idea of contracts, does this give you the ability now to have contracts to say, hey,
it might.
You now have to sign us. Oh, we're giving you 5 years. 3 must be here. You know, like those are the things you're getting yourself into, because with this stability that's coming down as far as making this a CBA essentially at this point, like there have to be rules in place for the workers and the institution. And I think that's where a lot of this, what we're not speaking of, other than the money, is going to play a part in it. You're going to get rules out of this one, I feel like.
Yeah, I mean, just in terms of the fifth-year player situation, I'm actually for it because it's not an everyday occurrence. I don't feel like that you're going to have guys or gals that are going to be fifth-year players or athletes or student athletes, whatever you want to call it. I think those will come at specialties. Like you guys were just mentioning Zakai Ziegler in that, realm of things. And he would have been one of those guys that I think, okay, those types of players, like the Diego Pavias. So if a player wants to stay in school that long and be able to benefit from the money that they're given, because that's going to set them up for the future, I'm all about it. I think we might think too much that, oh God, there's going to be all these old people in college hanging around. I don't think so. I think that would be a little bit overdoing it in terms of saying there are going to be that many people, that many athletes that stay that long. So I actually like that.
I think the challenge of it is in sports where physical maturity makes a significant difference. Like an 18-year-old that goes to college, redshirts or gets hurt, gets a sixth year. You could be 24 years old playing against 18-year-olds regularly.
The way that these 18-year-olds look nowadays, though, it is a different body structure.
Yeah.
Like, it is different nowadays.
I don't know. So that's one thing. But, like, the mental knowledge, the expertise, though, even 1 year in Pittsburgh for me, I felt like I saw more. I knew more. And I looked at, like, the college game just a slightly different just because of that, like, professional experience. So, yeah, you're right. Like, the body, like, kids are training earlier and stuff like that. But nothing in my mind, like, substitutes experience. And a 24-year-old versus David Sanders, a freshman, even a five-star, I still think you cook him at 24.
The challenge of it for the NCAA will have to be getting rid of these like very lenient uses of an extra year. Like to me, regardless, it sucks. But having a season-ending injury, I think you get one of those.
Mm-hmm.
Give you that,
and that's all you get.
Yeah.
Like if we're already giving an extra year, if you have a torn ACL week 1, you get that year back. If you get another one, I just think it's a little bit of a slippery slope. I think we've got too many Hunter Dickinsons and Chad Baker-Mazzaras playing against 18-year-olds for me.
I'm fine with that as long as it's like, I'm with you. I don't think it's fair every single time an injury occurs that on top of maybe having the fifth-year option now, that can get overwhelming. Absolutely. So they've got to be particular on that too.
Going to be interesting to see just how many schools prioritize their non-revenue sports that don't make the money. And how many schools that have traditional powers in baseball, in softball, in women's basketball, which is a revenue sport maybe for a couple of schools, but is not for everyone. Like you have now an increase to scholarship limitations for all of those sports. How much of that $23.1 million do you give if you're Tennessee to baseball? Or to basketball, or to women's basketball, or like if you really are an everything school, quote unquote, and you want to major in everything, that's great. There's going to have to be a major level of fundraising that goes beyond the $23.1 million that you are given and allotted to. You're not given it; you still have to pay that. Like that you are allotting to athletes. So the way NIL falls in all of this is going to be fascinating to watch in real time because we're not going to get all our answers today, but the new era could very well begin today and probably will.
This just allows everybody to get something.
I don't think we're at the CBA and salary cap part yet until we have employees at universities because then we open a Pandora's box of like, all right, well, do you have the same hiring practices that you do to hire a math teacher, to hire a running back? Because in court, you probably do if you make all these guys and girls employees. So
real quick, too, before then, like, what if you have a athlete that has a child? Does that student also get to go to school for free?
Right.
Because that's a part of it. I mean, I know it
is Pandora's box.
There's a lot that has to go into it.
It is.
Because it's state employees at universities go for free.
Exactly. And then, for any other job, you're required to interview a certain amount of candidates. I mean, are you bringing these guys for job interviews? Like, I don't think we're going to live in the world where they're employees. I think they're going to find a way to circumvent that. I do.
Contracts,
I think, could come.
Not anytime soon, but maybe.
Wow.
615-737-1045. There was some interesting reporting over the weekend. I don't know if you guys saw this. It kind of went under the radar a little bit. Again, about the Titans and trading back. And one caveat with Cleveland and New York that I find very interesting, if it's true. That's next.
Did you know you're overpaying for your health and wellness products?
With over 20 company-owned brands offering its members vitamins, supplements, wellness, and skincare products, you're able to save up to 70% off retail.
Members Nutrition can't change your life, but we can change the way you live.
It's Ramon Foster for the Wellness Institute of Nashville. Good people, they're giving you a percentage off of all that you do. Well, their non-surgical spinal decompression. You get 47% off of that right now, man. You know, my body took a beating in college and in the professional leagues, man, which is why I'm trusting the best in the business. That's Dr. Mitchell and Dr. Ashley. They are in the trenches fighting and helping you win the battle of pain when it comes to your back and your knees, man. After speaking with Dr. Ashley, she knows the athlete's body and the trauma your sport and position can cause to your body, and not just for your athletes either, man. For you people that just like to go to the gym or walk around your neighborhood, or just you have that back pain that you're dealing with, listen to me. You do not have to deal with it. I've gone into the facility at the Wellness Institute of Nashville, and it's by far one of the best. You walk in and you're just wild, but it's not overwhelming because they take care of you quickly. They speak to you. They actually find results to get you, find the help to get you the results that you're looking for, whether it be the zero gravity machine or the spinal decompression. It's a company that I trust and can't wait to go back. So start your new year off with a pain-free life, and it is possible. Call today, the Wellness Institute of Nashville, and get that 47% off. You can reach them at 615-246-5009 or go to painisbad.com. It's that time of the year, folks, when bugs become buggier, and it's that time of the year when I am also happy to have All-American Pest Control come out to my house. Listen to me. They take great care of me and my family and have for years now. My wife, you know her. I speak about her often, man. She wants every single pest gone, and so do I. Listen to you. They're slapping of the skin and hitting yourself because bugs all... No, you don't have to worry about that with All-American Pest, man. So we are set up on an All-American Complete Care Max program for pest control. Mosquitoes, I will say, last year didn't see many mosquitoes in my yard at all. Shout out to All American for that. Termites and just the yard in general. What I love is if a pest gets inside, all I have to do is call. They send a pest expert back out to treat the inside for no extra charge. It is fantastic. Listen to me. Call today or visit yuckbugs.com. That's yuckbugs.com.
8:01 from the 104.5 The Zone Studios. Good morning. I'm Justin Hawkins. No private workout for Shedeur Sanders or Travis Hunter with the Titans per Jim Wyatt. They'll leave it to the game film, scouting, and attending their pro day that they described as very impressive. The NFL is back. 3 teams begin their offseason programs today with the Chicago Bears, New England Patriots, and New York Jets. 2 teams are tomorrow in the Jacksonville Jaguars and the Las Vegas Raiders. The men's national championship between the Florida Gators and Houston Cougars tips off tonight at 7:50 at the Alamo Dome in San Antonio. Florida is seeking their 3rd national championship and first since 2007. Meanwhile, Houston is looking for their first title. You can hear Westwood One's coverage starting at 6 right here on 104.5 The Zone. UConn and head coach Gino Auriemma crushed South Carolina 82-59 to make it an even 12 national titles in women's college basketball. And in the NHL, the impossible becomes possible. Alex Ovechkin scored his 895th career NHL goal Sunday against the New York Islanders. He breaks Wayne Gretzky's record of 894. He does it in his 1,487th career game, coincidentally the same amount that Gretzky played. For all your foundation repair and waterproofing needs, you've got to go to USSTN.com. Breaking news at once for your home for the Titans and the Vols. This is 104.5 The Zone.
RKW on 104.5 The Zone is brewed by Scooters Coffee with locations in White House, Mount Juliet, Rivergate, Smyrna, and Brentwood. You make sure you download that Scooters Coffee mobile app today. Order ahead and save $2 off your first mobile order. It's what I did on the way to Knoxville on Thursday. It is my new way that I leave Middle Tennessee every time I drive east. You can do it too. That North Mount Juliet Road location, they'll get you in or out all over Middle Tennessee. White House, Mount Juliet, Rivergate, Smyrna, and Brentwood. There was a report over the weekend, guys, that I thought did not get a ton of traction because, let's face it, we've been doing jersey renderings and mock-ups of Cam Ward and the Titans jersey for weeks now.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Jeff Howe of The Athletic writes, the Titans could still move the top pick, but that doesn't sound likely at the moment, especially after they decline to get involved with top free agents Sam Darnold and Aaron Rodgers. The Browns and Giants have inquired about the Titans' interest in trading down, according to league sources, he writes. But the Titans haven't even determined the level of compensation they'd require to consider such a move. What do we make of this?
Yeah, I did see that over the weekend and thought that was interesting, that tidbit in particular, just because it stood out to me that those 2 teams have inquired about him, meaning that they still probably want to look at Cam Ward as a possibility. However, for the Titans not even to have a package that they'd want, I feel like that to me means they're not serious in terms of doing any type of trading at that point. Because if you are really serious about we need something in particular to trade out of this number 1 pick at this point, you would have something in mind. And again, this is just a report, but to not have anything in mind for what you would do that move for makes me think they weren't serious.
I actually go on the other side of that one. Not that they're not serious. I look at this situation as negotiating one-on-one. Hurry up and wait is what they're going to do to him. If they really do want some type of compensation for this pick, why do it right now? Like, it's easy to have a conversation right now with a team that wants to trade. Hey, well, basically what I'm saying is you're wasting time. They can just say, hey, we'll send you this. And next thing you know, it's just a back and forth the entire 3 weeks leading up to the draft. I feel like Borgonzi and Brinket both have an idea of what they want or what they expect out of that pick. It does them no justification to throw something out there right now just to have the Giants or Cleveland to play around with them. I think if this is a serious report, you'll hear something about 9 days by Friday going into the week of the draft is the way I see this one. Put pressure back on the Giants. Hey, if you really want this pick, or Cleveland, if you really want this pick, this is what we want. And you only got 3 days to decide. So if they are playing that game, I get it. Nobody at this point, I don't feel like, at least don't understand what they're asking for when it comes down to draft compensation. They know. Yeah. They just don't want to hear it right now.
Yeah, it's interesting. I mean, to me, it screams like Giants and Browns are the ones leading this discussion. right?
Sure.
Yeah.
Like they want it out there that they're doing everything they can to go get the quarterback because neither team is probably going to draft the other quarterback, meaning Shedeur Sanders. It feels like it's Travis Hunter to Cleveland, Abdul Carter to the Giants at this point is the most likely scenario.
It's happened exactly as you wanted to. There's been a lot of focus on Cam to the Titans.
It is crazy to me, though, too, that you already have Kayvon Thibodeau and Brian Burns in New York, and now you're going to throw Abdul Carter in there, too. But like we talk about all the time, you're drafting him for the next 5 years, not for the next year. But, I mean, I don't believe there is any world where the Titans don't know the compensation they would require. Right? Like, I think they probably know what it is, but we've also heard them say, actually down in Florida at owners' meetings, that if they love the QB, then there is no compensation possible. Right? Like, I think both things can be true. They might like Cam Ward enough to where they're not even picking up the phone anymore. Whereas at the beginning of this process, I can guarantee you, as much smoke as there was around the Titans being open to trading back, they knew what it would take. But they also didn't know how they felt about Cam Ward yet.
Yeah, and that's where I am with it more than anything. Like, it's funny. It is hilarious speaking about what the Titans should do versus everyone want them to.
Right.
At this point. And I bring it up because, again, I think the best pick is probably Cam Ward at this point. But you mentioned anything else, and it's just like, no, that's impossible. Like, no, it's not impossible because deals happen often in this league. Like, if nobody actually brings a strong enough deal to the Titans, then I think you pick.
That's what I think has happened here. I think they wanted to move back, and they never had their price met. Connecting the dots of this, though, I just think it means the price went up, honestly.
With his pro day and everything?
With just the more they got to know Cam Ward, they now like him enough to where yesterday's price is not today's price.
Well, because they said they were going to go through the process of this. I, honest to God, think at the beginning of this process, when it came to who you were going to pick at number one, I honestly thought it was probably Abdul Carter at first that maybe they were leaning more towards. And like going into it, like if we fall in love with one of these quarterbacks, maybe we go that direction. And I do feel like as the story went on, less and less were we talking about Abdul Carter or Travis Hunter. And even Shedeur Sanders was right there in the beginning because he had the more interviews at the start than compared to Cam Ward. The first time they talked to him was at Combine. So after the Combine, I feel like that's when they really started to seriously vet Cam Ward as maybe the possible favorite. And then it continued to grow. But before that, I truly think that they just had it out there like we're going to see who we fall in love with, and it might be a quarterback and it might be an edge or a cornerback / wide receiver. So I'll give him the flowers for doing the actual vetting process. That's what you have to do, I guess, when you had the number one overall pick, but it wasn't easy in terms of going about how you were going to pick these guys.
Do you personally believe they're lying about not having a price? Or
I think they have a price, absolutely. And like you said, they're probably not going to give that to anybody because they've been tight-lipped about pretty much everything inside that building. So they probably weren't going to let anything out. So they probably just told someone, oh, we don't really know yet what our price would be. Come on. You've got to have something in the back of your mind that if that call came, even if it was leading 5 days leading up, you're like, this is what we can give you, or this is what we need right now for you guys to move up.
Is it a reason for them to move back? With what do you believe there's a reason for them to move back? To be honest with you,
I'm convinced now, no, because if you really do think this can be your quarterback, you're already starting to think, okay, how do we start to build around him? You know, what are some other moves that we can make a little bit later down the line? Even the draft, right? I mean, they've got their board set, but it might, like we've said at times, if two guys are right there with each other, do you try to benefit the offense this year with one of those picks because you're getting the young quarterback in Cam Ward? So I don't think it would matter at this point. But again, if something wild were to happen where they were getting like a first-round pick this year, that first-round pick, and then next year, and then maybe there's a high 2 next year, next the year after. I mean, maybe if it's something crazy, I just don't see that happening.
At this point, if it's not 3 firsts, don't even bother picking up the phone.
Because
so the 2 this year and 1 next year. Hold on, which when you
need 3 first-round picks. You need first rounds of the next 3 drafts, including this one.
Which would be
even
wild.
from 3 to 1.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, the thing is, if you like Cam Ward, you're not even doing that. Mike Morganzi said to Paul Gaharski at the NFL owners meetings, quote, I was taught over the years, if you find the quarterback that you want and you think he is a franchise quarterback, then you're not going to pass on him.
Oh,
I mean, it's truly as simple as like, even if you get the offer that meets your price, but you think this guy's a franchise quarterback, then you still don't do the trade.
Still don't.
Quote, Callahan, I think anytime you can find a quarterback that can lift your football team and that you feel is the caliber of player you're talking about, those guys are worth more. There is really no price.
Mm-hmm.
So at this point, I think we're hearing there is no price. It's not that they don't know what the price is. There just isn't a price anymore. It's Cam Ward. That's their guy. They're canceling workouts with Shedeur Sanders. Like, I think they had a price in March. They ain't March anymore.
Mm-hmm. I just wonder, and I can't wait till this is all over so that we just know what they're doing, but I can't wait to ask, like, at what moment did you know that was your guy? Because it is like interesting to know, like, what point, if you were truly like vetting all these other guys and Shedeur was in the mix as well, like at what point and what was the difference that you thought Cam over Shedeur? Because that's also something I truly wonder, like, why not Shedeur?
I don't think we'll get an honest answer to that, but it is a good question.
Yeah.
Because they're going to tell us, like, oh, from the beginning, you know, like from the first meeting or from the first time we watched his tape, which may be true, but it's in their best interest to sell that he was the guy all along and that they have the utmost confidence in him. That way people buy jerseys and you win over the fan base.
Yeah, you can't have any hesitation.
Right.
You can't.
But it is a great question. Totally. No doubt. I wish we could get truth serum and learn the real answer.
I got a gut feeling. I don't know how to feel about this pick anymore. I don't.
Why is that?
It's Cam is the answer. But, of course, not knowing how Borgons, it's the unknown. That's what it is for me. It's the unknown.
It's a lot of unknown.
It is a lot of unknowns. Like, last year burned, I think, a good bit of people that covered the Titans with JC and Joe Alt. And you're right earlier. Well, you said, look, you don't have that case this year simply because you're picking number one overall.
Right. It's different.
No one
It's
can
different.
take him unless you give it to him.
We don't have to get ready for plan B because it's less likely they have to go to plan B.
And I think they still would have, honestly, if Joe Alt was there, they might have taken Joe
Last
Alt.
year,
They were
right?
going to.
I mean, that's the thing.
We
He
know
just
that.
was gone.
Yeah,
No,
they were.
They were going to.
They couldn't control 6.
Right.
For sure.
Couldn't control Harbaugh.
No.
Dang it.
Yeah, so I still don't love the pick. I still don't love Cam Ward, but I like it enough to be willing to put him behind this offensive line at this point. We'll see. I mean, that's the road you're going down at this point. There's no turning back now.
No turning
Doesn't mean
back.
we have to like it, but that is the road that we're going down. I say I kind of like it, don't love it. There you go.
Yeah.
615-737-1045. You know we do love some other players in the draft. We're not going to be totally Cam Ward focused this morning. 2 names from each of us, not named Cam Ward, that we feel are good fits and realistic options on days 2 or 3 for your Tennessee Titans next.
We've got the trucks, all the trims, all the towing, all the bells and whistles, and all at Truck Month Savings. 2 Rivers Ford is Ford Truck Central.
Hey, it's Phil Bowling. If you've been looking for cars and you see the words buy here, pay here, I get it. You've started to look elsewhere. I'm here to tell you, though, there is one place you can go that's affordable. It's fast. It's easy. It's Nashville natives. It's Nolensville Road Auto Mart. And they are different for a few simple reasons. Firstly, they've been doing business in Nashville for 61 years. Nashville natives that only sell clean title cars under $12,000. Maybe you are looking for that first car for that new driver in your family. I'm telling you, this is the place you need to go. Maybe you're new to town. You need a place to trust that knows the market, knows the area. They have got you. And the Google reviews, they are excellent as well. That's saying something for a car dealership. One location on Nolensville Road, close to Thompson Lane. They will get you in and out in an hour or less. And the best part, they're the oldest buy here, pay here in Nashville. 615-242-1279, Nolensville Road Auto Mart. They work with your own financing if you've got it. Flexibility, transparency, and honesty. That's why I recommend Nolensville Road Auto Mart. Call them at 615-242-1279. RKW 104.5, The Zone, brewed by Scooters Coffee. Locations in White House, Mount Juliet, Rivergate, Smyrna, and Brentwood. You can download the Scooters Coffee mobile app today to order ahead and save $2 off your first mobile order. So Cam Ward's going to be a Titan. We've accepted this. We've established this. We've talked about it. We will do the whole topic of like, hey, if you're just tuning back in the draft talk, here's what you missed over the last 2 weeks. We'll do that the week of the draft. But I think everyone listening to us, both casual and non-casual, NFL draft and Titans observers, knows it's going to be Cam Ward. Who else is going to be a Titan? Well, I have tasked us with each bringing 2 names to the table. Favorite realistic day 2/3 draft picks for the Titans, not named Cam Ward. I want you guys to tell me who and what. Give me the scouting report and why they should be a Titan. Kayla, we'll start with you on this one. Your number 1 name on day 2 or 3 you think is a Titans fit?
Yeah, and this is obviously, you never know what's going to happen in the draft, and there are names that can, be pushed down a little bit. And so while some might say this isn't realistic, I still believe there is a chance you could get wide receiver Emeka Egbuka out of Ohio State.
Definitely a chance,
with the number 35 overall pick, because there is other potential wide receivers that could go before him, causing him to drop. Egbuka comes from quality at Ohio State when it comes to wide receivers and the development of wide receivers by Brian Hartline specifically. I could go all day and say go down the list and see the development that's happened over the past few years, but especially over the past few years, you've seen them all really kind of transition nicely into the NFL. I think they're NFL ready for what they build there at Ohio State. But Egbuka also just does so much great from the get-go. He's been a pro his whole 4 years there. He has the most catches in Ohio State history with 205. And the biggest year I think he had was his sophomore year with 1,151 yards. But he had a good senior year, knowing there was other parts to that offense that were really good too, including the freshman wide receiver there that was outstanding.
Jeremiah Smith.
Yes, but he had 1,011 yards as a senior. Guys, I just feel like with a guy like this, he could be a safety blanket coming in for Cam Ward day one and could grow with Cam Ward day one. He can work in the slot. I feel like he's also a guy that can kind of be polished from the get-go. And I just feel like he would bring even the leadership in a room where there's Calvin Ridley and not a lot of others. And still he's going to be young, but I think he's a young player that would be able to bring enough experience and leadership from Ohio State and kind of fit in well with a guy like Calvin Ridley. But I just think he could be that dude day one for Cam Ward. And I think Cam Ward needs all the, help in an NFL offense he could get day one.
6'1", 202, Emeka Egbuka, who certainly could fit in a lot of different spots within the offense, a guy that can play inside or outside. And the comp for him by Lance Zierlein of NFL.com is Jackson Smith and Jigba.
Hey, now.
Who, when he's healthy, is pretty good.
Yeah, and I also saw his comp being Ricky Pearsall.
Really?
Too. There was a comp for him, on what was it? NFLDraftBuzz.com. They do their comps too there, and Ricky Pearsall was one as well as Jackson Smith and Jigba.
There you go.
No doubt. That's a good one.
Ramon, who you got?
Man, second rounder, I've been heavy on this one for a little while, man, as far as where you need to go and why. Like, Cam being number 1, potentially, and then you go on offense again. That's like 3-4 straight drafts of 1 and 2s being offensive players. Now, it's a smart play to go, right? But I look at this guy in particular, man, and I say he needs some help, and that's Jeff. Jeffrey Simmons either going to have to get paid big time or you have to show him that you're actually helping him that side of the ball. And they've done some stuff as far as free agency goes by getting some players, 1-year contracts and stuff like that, right? But there's a guy that sticks out to me that could really, I think, fit Denard Wilson's style.
Can I guess?
Yeah.
Defensive line?
Yes.
Deion Walker?
No, sir.
Okay, who is it then?
TJ Sanders out of South Carolina.
All right, tell me about TJ Sanders.
TJ Sanders, long rangey guy. I think he can actually put on more weight if you keep him where he is. Here's what I do know about him. He plays tight to the nose. tight to the center, and also can play a 3 technique. He has some of the most violent hands. He's a long body rusher, man, that gets upfield, that creates chaos. Now, of course, 6'4", 290, you'd like him just be a little bit heavier, get better in his run stopping ability. He plays a little high at 6'4" at times, but here's what you do see. He gets double teamed and still push guys back. He is a guy that caves in the middle of the interior offensive line often. Has a motor out of this world, man, and just simply gets in the backfield often. Gets his hands up, seems to be smart as a redshirt junior. Also this year, I think he was second team All-SEC. He plays well, and I think at him only being, I say only in this era, but him being 21 years old, there's a lot of growth for a player like him, man. His feet never stop really moving. You got to have somebody that's long and rangy and effective up the middle, but also this, if you're going to be a team so far right now, having to spend a boatload of money on the offensive line, then you got to supplement it somewhere, and that's going to the defense through the draft. And this, to me, seems to be a guy that the Titans can build off of, or how you go about rebuilding this team. And again, Rome isn't built in a year.
Sure.
But if you go get a guy that can help your defense, that also helps the offensive side of the ball, too. TJ Sanders, I like.
NFL.com's Lance Zierlein writes, Sanders is a powerful roadblock with heavy hands and a strong core. He rarely touches the ground. Despite a lack of knee bend, he usually gives better than he gets, and blockers have a hard time keeping him sealed. He punches and locks out quickly with a twitchy shed, I like that line, to tackle a gap over. His rush features average first-step quickness, but sudden hand swipes and play-through power in his lower half, open pathways to the pocket. His blend of power and pressure should put him on the board for both odd and even front defenses as a potential 3-down solution.
Yep.
Early second is where they have him, 35.
Sure.
That fits. That fits. You're not overdrafting at that spot right there. I think you get a whole lot of value too. And again, what does Morganzi and Chad have said as of late? They want to build a team of bigs that can be dominant, 100%. He fits that mold to me.
I like it. And I do think the Titans fans need to be prepared for any and all positions to come off the board with the second-round pick other than quarterback.
Yep.
100. And also, I'm in that boat. So if they had more picks, but I do think there needs to be a jolt. If Kayla just gave her a pick of Emeka Ibuka, of a young wide receiver.
There does, but I do think that you just can't get too position specific with the number 35 pick. You need good football players, and if you're taking the risk on Cam Ward and passing on a more surefire good football player, then you better get one at 35. I don't care what position they play, other than kicker, punter, and quarterback, and long snapper. Shout out Morgan Cox. Every other position is up for grabs.
Facts.
At 35 for me.
Facts.
The priority, though, is wide receiver, which is why I am taking the guy that none of you will be surprised to hear me take, Jack Besh, wide receiver, TCU. Look, I get it. At the beginning of the draft process, this is a guy who likely came in with 3rd or 4th round draft stock. He no longer has 3rd or 4th round draft stock. There are a lot of mock drafts that you will see have Jack Besh go in the 50s or the 60s. I'm willing to take him at 35 because I think he is a great fit for what Cam Ward needs to be successful right away within this offense. A sure-handed, short, intermediate target that has drawn comparisons to Puka Nacua. 6'1", 214 pounds, second team All Big 12, leading TCU with 62 catches, frog, 1,034 receiving yards, frog, 16.7 yards per catch, frog, and 9 receiving touchdowns. Started 12 games, did not play in the bowl game, played everywhere else. Competitive inside or outside target, according to Lance Zierlein, who stands out as a box checker in several important columns. He can be slowed and press and not have as much separation speed, but he is a big, strong receiver with outstanding ball skills. To me, I like Jack Besh. When I watch him, I watched a couple of games of him last night. The way he holds onto the football with linebackers or safeties in very vulnerable positions over the middle of the field is really important, because when I watch Cam Ward, the best thing that he does is when he rides that play action and then pulls it out very quickly, pulls the football out, and it's a sidearm delivery, a fastball over the middle. You've got to have good hands to have Cam Ward fastballs be caught and not dropped, or the positioning aspect of it too, I think, is what is so important. So I like this from Lance Zierlein. Says he's physical at the top of the route and has a rebounder's feel for owning catch space once he gains top positioning. So literally like a power forward boxing out a smaller DB. That's what Jack Bech can do. Is it a bit of a reach at 35? Maybe. To me, I'm not as obsessed with high ceiling for this team right now. I'm obsessed with high floor prospects if you're going to go with Cam Ward. To me, Jack Bech is a high floor prospect that you know what you're getting. I don't care if he doesn't have the projectability as a 900 to 1,000-yard wide receiver, too. If you get 800 yards a season from Jack Bech as a safety valve for Cam Ward and a red zone option that can box out smaller DBs, I'm taking the card to the podium and I'm running with it. That was a long breakdown. Thank you for bearing with me. I like Jack Bech and I want him to be a Tennessee Titan.
Love that. That's where I was this past week.
And we've talked a lot about him.
We've talked about Bech.
So I think people know exactly what you're going to get in the player, Jack Bech. And yeah, no doubt. And I think the only thing that holds me back, and you just said that, is there other people higher up on their board? And not in terms of my board, but just the Titans board that they have before a Jack Bech. That's why this third round, not having it, I've been saying this since 2 years ago, like not having a third round pick, it does. It absolutely burns you because you're like, well, we could have done this then and then got him there. And that's what I'm doing with now that we have to skip all the way to the fourth round, day 3, to get your next pick.
That's why I wanted to trade back.
Yeah, and that's why a lot of people were comfortable with trading back.
Yep,
so.
Totally. I like Bech's reliability over the middle of the field a little bit more. Like Jaden Higgins is another guy who will be there. A guy that has 4.47 40 speed and is a little bit quicker as a vertical threat, perhaps. I'm less concerned with that right now for Cam Ward because when I watch him on film, there's a lot of quick over the middle timing throws, and you're going to need a timing slot who's just going to catch the football when it comes his way in order to be on the other end of those. Who else we got? Second name.
The second name for me, I was going to round 4 because that's their next in terms of pick. So that's where I'm going. So day 3, they've got the 103rd pick. So I'm going to obviously try to address the edge spot now. As much as it pains me that I can't address it in the third round. So you're going to have names that aren't going to be as significant, but I still think this is a gettable guy who, because of the depth of the draft in terms of the edge position, could drop to early day 3, and that's Kyle Kennard, the edge out of South Carolina. I like Kennard first and foremost. Yes, he did play in the SEC, but he played in a dog defense like Ramon just kind of explained with South Carolina. He was actually the SEC Defensive Player of the Year in 2024. This is a guy that I think right now you could see him as more of a rotational piece as he continues to build his resume at the next level. But there's no denying. Let me give you the athletic ability on this guy real quick. 6'4", 254 pounds. But extremely athletic, a guy who I think in terms of his arsenal of getting off the edge, he's got the natural twitch. Yeah. He's got the ability. Like, it's all there. And just to build it over time, I think he could become primarily the guy that is a starter at that spot, but you could work him in. I love the kind of names we use when it comes to their toolbox, right? And this is specifically described as his pass rush toolbox, featuring a devastating cross chop move. But you can picture all of this, right? Violent hand strikes and fluid ghost technique around the arc. Those are all things that you need to naturally have to be a guy that gets off the edge quick in the National Football League. I just think this is a guy who's smart too. He can diagnose, like his ability in terms of a football player, that's there too. And everything that comes with him is very high. He's just, I think, got to work more into that starting spot.
For sure.
There you go.
That works. I'm torn between the two. I wish if we got time, I'll give another one. But real quick, my next one, either 4th or 5th round pick, that would be Pat Bryant. I like him. I like him.
Your Illinois wide receiver.
The Illinois wide receiver, been playing since his freshman year. Only thing I do not like about him, just to be honest with you, didn't have a high volume of receptions. Doesn't mean he can't catch the ball, but I thought like a guy like him would be an 80 reception a year type of guy in college. That is what it is. Illinois offense is what it is too. But what you do see from him, man, combat, catch player. And on top of that, he's physical after the play, too, and very responsible with the ball. Son of a high school football coach, superintendent, too, if I'm not mistaken. He gets ball to me. And I think when you look at where this team needs to be at, especially if you're getting him in the fourth, one of those fourth or one of those fifth round picks for the Titans, he makes perfect sense to me as a guy that can be a possession receiver, work the middle of the field, and also play down the seam. If you look at his tape, too, he's a guy, to your point, Will, a second ago, likes to play backyard football. He knows how to get open, is what you see on his tape. He knows how to improvise, and not like shy to do it. So I like Pat Bryant as a fourth or fifth round pick.
Sure.
Yeah.
I think it's a solid pick. Doesn't have maybe the explosion to get past defenders.
4.61.
But he's physical enough, and you want this in players that aren't fast enough to get beyond guys. He's physical enough to box them out when the ball's in the air.
And they have 2 fourth rounders, too, which is good. I know they don't have a third, but they have an early fourth and another. So,
and if you loved a third round pick, you can move up into the third round with 2 4s and make a deal.
Yeah.
And here's Will Levis for you as well, as we should offload him.
Man,
I thought we were going to avoid one day of not saying his name.
I mentioned him earlier. I mentioned him in the 6 o'clock. So, hey.
For me, when you are shopping on the third day of the draft, you are looking for role players who can come in and do a specific job. Smile Mondon, the inside linebacker from the University of Georgia, could fill a very important role player need for the Titans, which is coverage linebacker. I do not want to go into 2025 with James Williams being my coverage linebacker. And that's with all due respect to James Williams. I would love for James Williams to turn into a coverage guy for this team. I'm not willing to take that gamble in 2025 that he's ready already to step into that role. Smile Mondon is 6'2", 224, senior from Georgia, played 51 games for the Bulldogs. Missed 4 games last year with a left leg injury, had a stress fracture in his foot in the spring. This is where having doctor info and medical checks that the Titans have that we don't have could make the difference between this being a pick. However, if he, because of a bad medical, falls to you, man, you're rebuilding. On day 3, I'm willing to take that risk, knowing that I do have bodies in the inside linebacker room. I just want some better ones. So if Small Mondon does have a foot problem, all right, well, then maybe you do have James Williams play more reps this season. But to me, he is the kind of coverage linebacker that I would love for this team. 4.58 in the 40 with a 1.52 10-yard split. Ooh. And I love Georgia inside linebackers. An AFC National Scout tells NFL.com, played inside some, but he will be a cleanup and cover will. Weak side linebacker. Just need to make sure his foot checks out in medicals. I think he could come in year 1 and play a lot of third downs and a lot of passing situations for this team as a tight end eraser. And on day 3, you want guys to start off as role players and by the end of that rookie contract become starters. This is a guy who on day 1 contributes, maybe by year 3 or 4 is starting for you next to Cody Barton or whoever else you put next to him. I really like Smile Mondon a lot as a late round option for the Titans.
And this is where you wonder what is going to be their draft strategy. Like, do they go for players that have had some bumps and bruises, or do they stay away from that like they did in free agency? Yeah. I mean, this is what's so fascinating about this year, because we're going to be learning exactly like where they're going with years to come in terms of their mentality of it. Yeah.
615-737-1045 if you like our names or want to add some of your own. When we come back in the transfer portal, Rick Barnes has added a local prospect who is talking. Interesting stuff to talk about next. RKW 104.5 The Zone, wrapping up hour 3, brewed by Scooter's Coffee. And Jalen Carey is trading in black and gold for orange and white. Forward for the Vanderbilt Commodores, who followed Mark Byington from James Madison and will now be a Vol next season. Had a couple of outstanding games against Tennessee. This was him talking to Ryan Shumpert of Rocky Top Insider yesterday. Quote, "I'm a Vol now, man. Don't care about no black and gold. I bleed orange now, man. I don't care about what they've got to say."
Well,
college athletics in 2025.
He's got the edge that people, I'm sure, want on Rocky Top. He said also in this article by Ryan Shumpert, by the way, we gave him credit because that article came out on Friday. And when I saw it, I was like, have you heard this, Ramon? Because this isn't something I had heard. And then sure enough, a couple days later, it happens. But he also told Ryan Shumpert that playing the Vols like last year twice, he told Coach Barnes like how much he wanted to be a part of that. and he played really well against them.
He did.
Yo.
Like, he won't hold back, that's for sure.
I almost feel like we need radio silence on this one. I mean, just legitimately, because one, I just want to say, we as Vols fans didn't do this. He did this, okay? he did this is what I would say. And also that, too, like, the acknowledgement that against the Vols, he played lights out. I know he fouled out, I feel like, in the second game. But as far as being a menace in the paint, as far as, like, him popping out, as far as his play goes, like, we talked about him the following week, like, after the game, as far as how he played and how he displayed himself has been a force in the paint, man. I just can't believe he was that brash about it.
So the two interesting things about this, and I think the nugget at the bottom of the article by Ryan Shumpert that came out yesterday is really interesting. Jalen Carey last year made 9 threes at a 23% clip. He says Rick Barnes told him he likes his shot and it needs some tweaking. Says those shot adjustments and conditioning are 2 key offseason points for Jalen Carey. Carey said, Barnes said, I have a beautiful shot. It's just 1 or 2 things that needs a little help and it'll be right there. So that's the interesting thing that Rick Barnes, I don't think, doesn't get enough credit for, is the way he has changed the mechanics of so many good players. The high release shot inside is the thing he gets a lot of credit for. Grant Williams, Kyle Alexander, Felix Okpara being more comfortable shooting with the ball higher up. That makes it harder for the defender to block. But as a three-point shooter as well, he has done a lot, Rick has, and he is very good at teaching the proper mechanics of shooting outside shots. That was the case for Jemai Mashak before he hurt his finger going into the season. I think you would have seen a different Jemai Mashak had he not hurt his finger, and I've been saying that since December. Zakai, Kevin Punter was the first one who Rick only had for 1 year, became a great three-point shooter. Anyway, Tennessee is following the Florida model. Get a bunch of bigs. And have different kinds of guys to throw at your opponent. So Tennessee now will have 5 big men. They had 2 this year.
I mean,
they could really rely on.
Yeah, they needed
so
to beat
this year
that.
they had Okpara and Phillips. Next year they have Okpara, Phillips. JP Estrella will be back. Dwayne Brown is a freshman from Hoover, Alabama, who is a 6'11 freshman forward, who is a bigger, more physical guy. And now Jalen Carey. That's 5 bigs that you, 4, including the freshman, or in addition to the freshman, that you feel comfortable playing next season. That's a big difference.
That's a huge difference. Again, for everything that you did as far as like with Zakai and going to get Chaz and everything else, like I feel like you did miss it. And I think it showed a little bit in March Madness in the tournament too. Like those guys being around the rim and having the ability to just, even if you're not affecting every play, just to know that if we go in this paint, you're going to have to pay. And I think that's what Jalen Carey does, man. On top of just being able to put to put the ball in the basket a time or two also, and just decide that he wants to be there. I think that's one side I feel like a lot of people are missing out when it comes down to like recruiting and building up a team. Are you getting guys because you're paying them a crap load of money, or do they want to be there and actually play for you? And it sounds like that's what Jalen Carey is saying. I looked on our chat real quick because I've been off of it for a while. The first thing I said, Vols suck anyway. We don't care. You care.
Oh yeah, if you don't have to comment about it, then you probably care.
Go Vols, man.
There is probably some frustration right now, knowing that there are a lot of Vandy players that have transferred out, after that first year with Mark Byington. And this is the world we live in, unfortunately, in college basketball. And you have to fill those holes quickly. But Carey does, he's a physical defender, right? I think that fits what Rick Barnes is looking for. You also have that kind of chip on his shoulder, it seems, that he plays with. I liked this note, too, on the article I read on On3. His averages actually went up in SEC play.
Yeah.
So 9.5 points per game, 6.2 rebounds per game. So really good sign, too, in terms of just, when he did take it to the next level of production.
Tennessee also bringing in Maryland point guard Jacoby Gillespie. I know we've talked about that for a week, and I think Evan Maya is the one that has him as the number one player in the transfer portal, regardless of position. I've watched this guy play a lot firsthand. I've spoken with him a number of times a couple of years ago doing sidelines for Belmont. I can tell you firsthand that Jacoby Gillespie would commonly, for that Belmont team 2 years ago, guard the other team's best guard. Like, that was just the first part of every scouting report is, all right, Kobe's going to take this guy. Who else has got who? So when that really good Belmont team that had Kate Tyson, who transferred to UNC, that had Malik Dia, who transferred to Ole Miss, you had Jacoby kind of running the show, routinely guarding the best player, and then the guy with the ball in his hands in the final minute. In Jacoby Gillespie, you are getting a guy who's going to take the last shot, who is going to confidently take that moment on his shoulders and rise to the occasion. He was so clutch for that Belmont team.
Yeah.
He's now got Power 4 starting experience at Maryland. If you were building in a lab the perfect replacement for Zakai Ziegler, it would be Jacoby Gillespie. He is such a good fit. They are very fortunate to have him now filling in for Zakai Ziegler. Not as good defensively because no one's as good as Zakai Ziegler defensively. Yeah. But he is a little bit better of a shooter from the outside than Zakai was on paper. So will be interesting to see what that looks like against SEC defenses because that's a big challenge. But he is such a good heir to the throne of Zakai Ziegler.
What's his size? Gillespie size against?
Oh, I have to look. I don't know off the top of my head.
6'4"?
No.
He's not 6'4".
He's a smaller guy.
Okay.
6'1".
Okay.
6'1", that's cool. That's cool right there.
6 foot, I guess. Yeah, it depends on where you look. 6'1" or 6 foot.
In that,
I know, right?
In that world.
Yeah, seriously.
Yeah. Can finish to the rim, can shoot. It's going to be hard to replace Zakai Ziegler.
Yeah.
It's going to be very hard to replace. It's not just going to be just pick right where Zakai left off. But if anyone's going to do it, this is the guy. This was your first choice to do it.
But it's also having those guys return because we talked about it on Friday. Asked Hubs about it.
Yeah,
the rumors around Akpara leaving. Like now you got that back again, and then you get Cade who's back, and then a very motivated Estrella.
Absolutely,
very motivated.
Word on the street is that Jacoby took less to go to Tennessee.
Took less.
Tennessee kid coming back home to his home state.
I believe he had a bigger offer to go play for his old head coach, Kevin Willard at Villanova.
And chose to come on home.
So similar to what Chaz Lanier did.
It is.
Because we know that Chaz Lanier had bigger offers to go elsewhere and chose to represent his home state.
Yo.
Jacoby Gillespie doing that again. 615-737-1045. What you got?
I was just going to say, as corny as some people make it seem like, oh, Rick Barnes ain't that nice of a guy, I think that goes a long way in this era of muddy NIL. Like being able to build a relationship with the guys' families.
Sure.
I think it does still holds.
Definitely. I agree. Coming up, National Championship, Florida, Houston. Who you got next?
Hey, it's Ramon and Kayla for Window Nation. April is a great time to spruce up your house. It looks like the rain is going to die down this week, so get out and improve some of your windows because Window Nation, they've got a sale going on. Buy 4, get 4 for free sale. That's happening right now. You could pay nothing until 2027, and if you buy a house full of windows, Moan, they're going to give you a free entry door. You can't beat that.
Kayla cannot beat that, man. And the other part, too, man, just speaking realistic to you guys, I know a lot of our houses took a beating this weekend, and maybe your windows you realize were a little bit worse than you thought they are, man. Kayla just told you. This is the company that you need to go get, man. Window Nation is just that simple, man. They're built to protect your home with top quality installation and seals. Right now, she tells you, get 4 windows free with every 4 you buy. It's the best company out there doing it. Go ahead and take care of your house, man. You can call them at 866-90Nation or go online to windownation.com. We've got a huge announcement from Two Rivers Ford. Just in, Two Rivers Ford is now offering employee pricing for everyone. Yes, that means you pay what they pay on almost every new Ford on the lot. And at Two Rivers Ford, what you see is always what you get. They don't do things like add expensive accessories that are overpriced or tack on service packages to increase the price of vehicles. No, Two Rivers Ford is upfront and honest every single time. And now they're offering you employee pricing. There's no better time to buy an American, and there's no better dealership than Two Rivers Ford. Locally owned and operated for over 40 years, home of the non-commissioned sales team, and now home to employee pricing for everyone from America for America. Two Rivers Ford, the South's most trusted Ford dealer.
.901 from the 104.5 The Zone Studios. Good morning. I'm Justin Hawkins. No private workout for Shedeur Sanders with the Titans per Jim Wyatt, but they'll leave it to the game film, scouting, and attending the pro day that they described as very impressive. The NFL is back today. 3 NFL teams begin their offseason programs with the Chicago Bears, New England Patriots, and New York Jets. Two teams will begin tomorrow in the Jacksonville Jaguars and Las Vegas Raiders. Tonight, the men's national championship between Florida Gators and Houston Cougars tips off at 7:50 at the Alamo Dome in San Antonio. Florida seeking their 3rd national championship and first since 2007. Meanwhile, Houston is looking for their first. You can hear Westwood One's coverage starting at 6 o'clock tonight right here on 104.5 The Zone. UConn and head coach Gino Auriemma crushed South Carolina yesterday 82-59 to make it an even dozen, 12 national titles in women's college basketball. And in the NHL, greatness has been achieved. Alex Ovechkin scored his 895th career NHL goal Sunday against the New York Islanders, breaking Wayne Gretzky's record of 894. He does it in his 1,487th career game, coincidentally, the same amount that Gretzky played. For all your foundation repair and waterproofing needs, you've got to go to USSTN.com. Breaking news at once for the Titans and the Vols. This is 104.5 The Zone.
RKW Brew by Scooters Coffee rolls into the fourth and final hour already on this Monday morning. You can roll into Scooters at White House, Mount Juliet, Rivergate, Smyrna, and Brentwood. Download the Scooters Coffee mobile app today to order ahead and save $2 off your first mobile order. We love our new title sponsor here in the program, and we are working on some pretty cool things that you are going to enjoy.
Oh, yeah.
That's all we got. With us and Scooters coming soon. Much more for the partnership that we are pumped about coming your way. Florida and Houston tonight. Gators, winners of 11 in a row. Kelvin Sampson's Houston Cougars have not lost since Feast Week, or have one loss since Feast Week, I should say. They get the job done against Duke, holding them to just one field goal in the final 10 minutes.
Wow.
Of this one, outscoring the Blue Devils 25-8 in the last 8-17. They had just 45 points. Then they went sicko mode, as the kids would say. I've never sounded older. Who you got tonight? Florida, Houston.
Man, I'm taking Florida. I'm holding true to it, man. After realizing what they were at the SEC tournament, seeing what they did in the tournament so far, and say March Madness tournament, man, is every scenario they've had to deal with. They've played in high scoring games. They played it tight. They've been behind numerous times and found ways to come back. It's just that the way I view this squad is hard to see them not winning, considering everything that they've gone through, even with the defense of Houston. And they've seen good defenses for a while now. Auburn, I thought, played them well early on and didn't matter the second half. The Tennessee, I thought, would have played them a whole lot better in the SEC tournament. Did not matter. Like, they've beat the Vols by 30. They've lost by 20. I don't think they'll see them get rolled like that, because I don't know how offensive Houston is to be able to do that, to where they get beat by 20. So because of that, and because of this, Walter Clayton Jr., I mean, hands down, he hot. He the tournament MVP. And even if they lose,
agreed,
he the tournament MVP at this point. I got Florida.
That's the way it should go.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, and so I'll kind of feed off of that, because I picked Florida to win it in my bracket. However, after I saw what Houston did in terms of the comeback against Duke, I didn't think that they were going to get past Duke. And what they did and how they did it at the end, and had fight left in them to be able to do that. I'm like, I have a feeling that this is like a team of destiny now with what they're doing. And I know that sounds kind of weird saying it, but I think Florida has an extremely talented team led by Walter Clayton Jr. But what Houston's defense has done to guards so far in the tournament, and they're, starting guards. They're guards that we all know the names of them, right? Yep. Braden Smith, Zakai Ziegler, Tyrese Proctor. They've held them to a little bit more shaky performances. And if Clayton Jr. does not score at least 25 points in this game, I'm a little worried that Florida's not going to be able to get over the hump and win this. Just because of the way that they are always willing their way back in games. So I just feel like there's something special about this Houston team and the way that they've played all season long, and the experience in terms of what they have in a game like this. I think they might eke out Florida.
So you're picking Houston?
Yeah.
Okay. Florida will win, in my opinion. Part of me doesn't want to pick against Houston again, because I keep doing it and they keep proving me wrong. But I think Florida has the size down low to keep Houston from rebounding so many of their misses. So what that means is Houston has to make a lot of shots and tough twos to beat Florida, who I think can match their level of physicality inside, I don't think it's a good matchup for Houston. I really don't.
Yeah, I understand that.
I don't doubt that they can do it. Certainly, Houston could win this game by 10 if Florida doesn't make its jump shots on the other side, or if they get out physicaled underneath. I just have a hard time believing, when push comes to shove, that Florida is going to get out muscled by anyone. This is the team that could do it, but I will believe it when I see it. I got Florida.
Same here, man. And not just that. Like I said, I brought them up earlier, man, as it pertains to the role players that Florida plays alongside of Walter Clayton Jr. Like, that's the thing I feel like is the difference. Yeah, you mentioned, like, Houston having Cryer that can play a role for him, too. But, like, legitimately, like, that game, Houston won it, but I feel like Duke absolutely folded.
I agree.
I get it.
And you have to say that because you got to give credit where credit's due.
100%.
But like, I don't know if Houston has somebody that can score the way Florida can, and even so deep. Much so that Duke was doing the exact same thing too, Kayla, until like the pressure got to them. And on top of that, they play they're able to play physical just the same as they are. They got a bench that they can go to too. I mentioned Denzel Aberdeen. Like, I saw him at the Vols game in Knoxville. And I said he should be playing more. And in that moment, and he didn't even do a whole lot, but you could tell he was the guy that needed to be on the court. But also just him and Elijah Martin, like the presence of them being able to go toe-to-toe with them in the backcourt, I think is super unique. And it's going to be a problem for Houston, too. They'll have their moments, but having somebody that can shoot around the perimeter the way that Walter Clayton Jr. does with, I asked Savage. I was like, Savage, like, how do you even defend that? It's like, what is he doing as far as Walter Clayton Jr.? He's like, he's not even looking at him. He's only looking in the rim. And when you have a guy that's that laser focused, and you can see it in his post-game interviews, he to me, and I don't know if he's ever mentioned, like, we're speaking of like Mamba mentality. Like, he's the embodiment of it right now in the college world. Like, legitimately. Easy. And he's fun to watch. He can create his shot. He can get to the hole, and he can dish it. Like, that young man is, he's that good.
Yeah, and again, Florida is deep, rebounding wise. Like, these are all things that, Florida is probably the favorite to win this game. The line
is only still 1.5.
Yep. Right. I mean, they're both very good teams.
Yeah.
I just think we're in SEC country. Like, I hear obviously more Florida winning this game in particular, but they've also got to be careful, though. They've given a lot of teams free throw opportunities. And if this comes down to a game where they're down at the wire and, the fouls are coming because they've put a lot of guys at the line. And you got to be careful of that if you're Florida as well, the way that they play, just in terms of, those final shots can mean so much, i.e. what happened down the stretch with Duke.
Yeah.
So.
It's going to be a fun game.
It's everything and more.
I know. I'm excited about it.
It's a great contrast of styles. Yeah. You got the young wonderkin coach in Todd Golden against the old man in Kelvin Sampson. I mean, you don't get two programs that are run much differently than the way these two programs are run.
And then on top of that, too, I mean, their boosters down in Florida, just pretty much whatever was going on preseason with their coach, Coach Golden, don't matter. Don't matter.
Oh, no.
I don't want to bring it up anymore, but like...
They're like, what happened?
It's all
at the
part
beginning
of
the season?
He clearly is the straw that stirs the drink easily.
Right.
Goes to show you in sports, win, baby, win.
Just win.
Just win. Well, I don't care if it's ugly or not, just win.
Adam Schefter this morning writes, Penn State edge rusher Abdul Carter had breakfast Sunday in State College with the New York Giants head coach Brian Daboll.
Okay.
Carter also is now scheduled to visit the Giants on Thursday in New Jersey, and he figures to be a top 3 pick.
That's a big old group of rushers.
Abdul Carter over Shedeur Sanders at 3. Looks that way. I'm starting to believe the Shedeur Sanders drop.
I do too.
I am too.
And I think, Ramon, if I was a Steelers person, I would be paying close attention to Shedeur Sanders dropping at the 21st pick.
Facts. 100%.
I think that is his low water mark. I don't think he gets past Pittsburgh.
Well, here's the thing. If they bring in Aaron Rodgers and they also still have Mason there also. I know Mason signed a 2 is really a 1.
Mason's a backup.
But, yeah, definitely. But you look at, like, Aaron Rodgers coming in. Like, the growth of, like, Shedeur in those moments. Like, what is the offense going to be? What you want it to look like also. So, I feel like with what Arthur Smith's going to be presented with it being Aaron Rodgers and Mason Rudolph, you almost have to be a little bit different what you're doing with Shedeur in a sense. So I honestly, as some would have changed my tone just slightly as the Steelers taking him at 21.
Okay.
I feel like if he's not picked in the top 10, he might not be picked in the first.
Interesting.
It's getting more and more like that.
Jeez.
And the other part for me is this. I hate to point my finger at you like this, but now I'm going. The other part that gets me
I don't
going
care.
is this. Is the Giants zero in on Abdul Carter. Like, that also may tell me they have an affection for Cam Ward if there ever was to be a play. I don't think the Giants are moving up for Shedeur Sanders so that the Browns don't get him in a sense. I see them as, well, you guys have got him. Well,
Cam
never
Ward,
mind.
yeah.
Yeah.
I think all these teams are Cam Ward or bust.
Cam Ward or bust. Yeah, facts. So are the Titans foolish if they move back? Because they're not moving back, so they're picking the number one.
With Brandon Allen as their quarterback addition and Tim Boyle, at this point they would be
that
foolish
kind
to
of
move
gave it
back.
away.
Yeah, no doubt.
Shedeur Sanders, to me, would he be successful in Pittsburgh?
Would he be? Got the defense to support him. You got a run game, always going to have that. And Pittsburgh does a really good job always finding young wide receivers.
Yeah,
Is this
for me.
just him, or they still sign Aaron Rodgers?
Aaron Rodgers, I think, is still
Aaron
inside.
Rodgers is a Steeler.
Yeah, he's a Steeler.
He's
It
a
doesn't
Steeler.
matter.
By all intents and purposes, he's a Steeler.
Unless he retires or Minnesota come in late or something like that. Nah,
At this point, he's a Steeler.
He's locked and loaded.
When the owner's out there saying, like, I think there's some stuff that we got to work out, it's done.
It's done. Yeah,
It's just not signed on the dotted line yet.
I think we're being pressed as far as the timeline goes, too, simply because some off seasons are starting up, but most off seasons don't start to like late April anyway.
Right.
After the draft, usually when vets show up.
I think that's a place he could be successful.
Aaron? Shedeur. I do too.
Yeah, especially if he can sit.
I do too.
I don't think Shedeur would be successful everywhere. I think there and the Rams are the two that I'm really interested in.
You put him in a scenario like what Green Bay has going on.
100%.
Yeah.
And the thing is, I actually do think he is pro-ready based on the offense that he is coming from and the NFL tutelage that he had as a college quarterback.
Yes.
You could make the argument he's a little more pro-ready than Cam Ward is. But I do think that there is going to be a learning curve still for him.
I think so. And just his timing, he got attacked big time for patting the ball, which every quarterback pats the ball.
Yeah, those directional delivery cues,
Cisco,
as Coach Mack puts it.
Yeah, Cisco went in on Shedeur this weekend. It was
be interesting. His whole career fascinates me for so many different reasons. Yes, because there's the Dion storyline to it. There's the NFL part of it. There's the time it takes for him to throw the ball and the sacks that he takes. Like, he is a test study in, can you learn pocket presence and learn how to get rid of the ball more quickly? Because there's that idea out there that if you take sacks in college, you take sacks in the NFL, regardless of whose fault it was, you learn how to take sacks, you take sacks. Is that true or not? He is a way that we find out an answer to that.
Yes, 100%. And also a case study between him and Cam, too. Do you go with the dynamic playmaker and Cam?
Right. Or the
do you
game
go
manager.
Exactly. You got both in this one.
Mm-hmm. You sure do. 615-737-1045. Time to complain about someone or something in your week. It is time next for the Monday Roast. Hey, it's Will Bowling for my friends at Brentwood Hearing Center. Look, warmer weather, it is here. Many of us are going to find ourselves doing more outside activities, whether we are out in the garden, maybe we're going to sporting events. Hey, it's that beach trip. Maybe you just got back from spring break recently. You're planning that summer beach vacation. Well, if so, and that's many of you, I want to tell you about a revolutionary new product, the Phonax Sphere, which is not only designed to help you hear when there's background noise, but it's also the only completely waterproof hearing aid on the market. And hey, even if you're not in the pool, we all sweat, right? We're outside this time of year. Whether you're working up a sweat in the yard or enjoying those water activities, there's no longer a need to remove your hearing aids. Even around water, you can still participate in conversations. Look, Brentwood Hearing Center, they've got the best technology on the market. So for a demonstration, give them a call, 615-377-0420. Or visit them online at BrentwoodHearingCenter.com. That's 615-377-0420. Brentwood Hearing Center. Better hearing, better life. RKW 104.5 The Zone, brewed by Scooter's Coffee, as we continue this morning in hour number 4. Ramon Foster, Kayla Anderson, and Will Bowling. You can hop in the F and Bake Chat, Facebook Live, YouTube, Twitter, or Twitch to join the discussion and join the complaining for the Monday Roast. You can roast anyone or anything in your life on the phones at 615-737-1045. Who in sports deserves to be roasted, Ramon Foster?
And I had...
What's your mic on?
I got to turn my mic on. I'm scrambling for what I had saved on Twitter, man. It's this weekend, man. It was pretty wild with the weather, right, as it pertains to everything that had happened. And I'm actually giving it to a good group of the population of Memphis on this one, man, just because there were a lot of people, and I get it, y'all let me know if I'm wrong on this one, but there were a lot of people who were very upset with the news in Memphis, WRAG, covering the basketball game as it pertains to the Storms this past weekend. And if y'all hadn't checked the news, man, West Tennessee got beat bad, okay, by the Storms. It came in waves and it did not stop at all, man. And I'm not sure if the bookmark that I had got deleted or what, but it's no longer here. I had it bookmarked. But our guy in West Tennessee that does the Masters recap, what is his name, man?
Chris Vernon.
Yeah, Chris Vernon, man. Had some strong stances on how he felt about the coverage of the games versus the coverage of the weather this past weekend. And I'm thinking to myself, people died. No, like over the outbreak of these storms, it was over 270 in like 3 days, if I'm not mistaken, mainly through Tennessee, from west to east, well, from west to middle and all the way up through, man. People were affected, and you worried about a game. He kept saying, of course, and others with him, well, they got other avenues and where they can do the news. And I was just like, that's insensitive as hell. Not just that. This is a real life catastrophe going on right now. And I get we love our sports. Sir, it's 2025, as they said. We are in 2025, all right? You can go stream that another avenue. So for the people that did not take serious the Storms because you was worried about a Final Four matchup that your team wasn't playing in, or that you can go back and review later. Sir, roasted, not okay.
Totally agree. I'll tell you what, there are other avenues where you can watch basketball.
Yes.
I mean, if you have cable to watch TV and tune in at the game, then you have a cable provider password where you can go to March Madness Live and watch the game for free.
That's what I did.
Yeah.
I'm all for it.
Yeah, it's very easy to do.
I'm all for it.
Yeah, anybody complaining about that, that's pretty ridiculous.
We got lives at stake here.
West Tennessee got destroyed. Like, seriously, like, the weather was crazy out there. It was crazy here, but it was crazy out there, too.
Yeah, facts.
Kayla, what you got?
Mine's just short and simple. And it's not because I don't like this head coach and this program. I think they've been incredible over the past several years. But when it comes down to a championship game in women's basketball, we have not been disappointed as of late. Unfortunately, yesterday, South Carolina getting completely whooped by the Yukon Huskies, 82-59. And this was a situation where I just felt like we should have had a better game for a number one South Carolina women's led team by Dawn Staley and all the incredible things that she has done. And I get it. There were things that were behind, the meaning of UConn winning this, Paige Beckers getting to send her out with her first championship. I get all that stuff. But I would have just loved for that to have been a little bit more competitive of a game where we wouldn't be turning the channel, in the fourth quarter. And unfortunately, I had it going, but I was watching something else at the same time. So, man, I hate to say this, but South Carolina Gamecocks in this moment, you're not that, gals.
Yeah,
roasted. Yeah.
Yeah, you're roasted. Man,
yep.
I hate to say that because Dawn Staley's done such a great job with her program.
She's crucial for the sport, yeah.
But
100%.
I didn't understand why that couldn't have been a more competitive matchup.
Yeah, and they crushed them twice. I mean, they beat South Carolina 87-58 in Columbia. It is kind of crazy that Tennessee was their last loss.
I know.
Lady Vols were.
Wow.
For UConn, 80-76 on February the 6th. They went undefeated from there, and that was their turning point of their season. Kind of crazy. Jayhawk, Justin Hawkins batting next for the Monday Roast.
All right, for mine, we got to go all the way back to 2021, the NFL draft. The number 1 overall pick was Trevor Lawrence. The number 2 overall pick was Zach Wilson. The Chicago Bears selected Justin Fields at pick number 11. Recently, the New York Jets signed Justin Fields. Last week, the Jets owner, Woody Johnson, had a comment on Justin Fields. He says, I think Justin Fields is going to be a total winner for us. I've been impressed with him since his college days. It was he or Trevor Lawrence, and I think he's going to be really good. You selected Zach Wilson with your number 2 overall pick. If it was he and Trevor Lawrence, why did you not select Justin Fields at number 2? Woody Johnson, what are we doing?
Yeah.
That's a great one. That's well done. It's well done by Justin.
Yes, it was, man.
This Justin Hawkins, not Fields.
Right.
That was solid, man.
I like it.
I appreciate
Good
you,
stuff.
Jayhawk.
I would like to roast whoever is giving Jalen Milroe advice. Did you guys see this over the weekend? Jalen Milroe has accepted an invitation to attend the NFL draft in Green Bay. Who is telling you to accept this?
I think that's awful.
You are not going to be a first-round pick, Jalen.
Not good.
May not even be second round.
No. Who is telling you to go to Green Bay? It's hard to get a hotel anyway in Green Bay for this thing. You're probably going to pay a lot of money to stay there. I'm joking on that part.
No, I think it's still would be. Yeah.
Well, if you're invited, surely you have accommodations for you, is what I mean. What are we doing? Mel Kiper has Jalen Milroe as the number 5 quarterback on his list of top 10 draft-eligible quarterbacks. Whoever is giving Jalen Milroe advice and whoever let him say yes to this isn't Jalen Milroe's fault. Somebody in Jalen Milroe's life needs to love him enough to say, buddy, have you seen Will Levis? Have you seen Brady Quinn? Have you seen all the camera shots of quarterbacks waiting for their names to get called who just sit there and just keep sitting there? That's what's going to happen to Jalen Milroe at the NFL draft. Whoever gave him this advice, roasted. Terrible.
You.
I think they're having problems like getting guys to come to the draft too. Like this year, I mean, every year it's kind of gone down just a bit. Yeah. But I think this year in particular too, like it being in Green Bay, and I get that, like, you know, it's not a big, huge city where there's tons of stuff to do. It might be tougher to get there. But I just think in general, a lot of these guys are just opting to be at home with their families and have the camera on them and have their own parties nowadays.
I'm not even going to blame Jalen Milroe. Yeah. Like, seriously, if I was invited to the draft, like, okay, cool, that's interesting. Like, yeah, why not? Like, somebody in his camp has got to have enough awareness of his stock to be like, buddy.
No, not it.
Let's throw a party at the house.
100%. Like, you got to be aware is what you would call that. Like, you have to be aware in that situation, man, because, again, those slots are slated for guys that are going in the first round, maybe early second. We've seen guys go early second, but you got to know that your name's going to be called. Like, if he's going just for the experience of it, cool.
Right.
If you want to vlog it, if you want to do all of those things, but does he sit in the green room is what I ask first.
Probably.
You think
right?
he sits
at least the first night?
Yeah.
I mean, the only thing this could help is like the business propositions of your family. Like, people become stars who are sisters and moms and dads and cousins of prospects. You get to see them a lot. Yeah. Like, that was kind of the birth of some people in Will Levis's camp becoming like social media icons. And his girlfriend at the time got a huge following because she was on camera so much during the draft. Like, good for those people, but like, I don't know if this is good for you.
No, man.
Because I do not think, and if he goes first round, I'll raise my hand and say I was wrong, but I'd be shocked.
I'm gonna be beyond shocked. Okay, you might as well just put me on life support at that point. Like, I say that out of respect for him, that his tape didn't suggest first round talent this year.
Agreed.
Right now, we're talking about 2 quarterbacks and maybe a possible in Jackson Dart, and nobody mentions. Like, I've heard more of Tyler Shuck than I have Jalen Milroe at this point.
Dan Orlovsky, after that this was announced that he was going to attend draft night, he said that Jackson Dart and Jalen Milroe will probably go higher than expected. But I don't think the first round. I don't think the first round, though.
I think Dart, at this point, you could flip a coin. I think he could be a first-round pick. I don't see Milroe being a first-round pick.
I don't either. He's not. He's not going to be.
What sucks for Milroe is this. He's played more at Alabama, for sure. He's played more, but it was underwhelming in everything that he did as a starter for the most part.
Right.
The games that he lost. And on top of that, what hurts him is Anthony Richardson, I feel like.
Yeah.
you have this tremendous athlete.
Uber athlete.
Yes, sir.
4.34 40.
That you feel like you can fix, and then you go get Joe Flacco.
He's just not accurate.
Yeah. And it's,
He
that.
misses a lot of passes. He's just not accurate.
Like layups.
Yeah.
It's like Angel Reese shooting shooting layups. Like, it's legitimate like that sometimes
it really
for
is.
him. Like throwing in the dirt. Like, we can say that. Like, sports is to be evaluated and talked
for
about
sure. It's
like
not
this.
personal.
Like, it's not personal at all.
And it's not because he went to Alabama.
And then, okay, so here's the other side. Well, he's a weapon. He's a threat. Tell me how many NFL quarterbacks, NFL teams, NFL head coaches are allowing their quarterbacks to run like this. If you say, well, he can run, stop. Even Anthony Richardson got shut down.
He can run, but he can't hide.
No, he can't
you gotta
hide.
have an arm.
Well, somebody gonna catch you, okay?
Sounded like you were a little boosy there.
No.
Well, how many teams in the BOOSIEB? Okay, stop there. Anyway.
You've been hanging around Slay too long.
There's no such thing as hanging around Slade too long. Justin, you got another one for us.
Yeah, I won't be long. This one's really fun. I don't know if you saw this after the game on Saturday night. Skip Bayless, known for his hot takes. Okay, so he comes on Twitter and he makes a little video clip. And do y'all know where he went to school?
He went to Vanderbilt.
He went to Vanderbilt. Let me play this little clip for you.
Oh, no.
Look, I don't like Duke. My school is better than Duke. I've said it from the start. I believe it with all my heart and soul.
What are we doing? Vanderbilt is
Skip.
never going to beat Duke. With Cooper Flagg, especially. What are you doing? All he says in his tweet, he says Duke flat out folded last night, and then he comes on to say that Vanderbilt is better than Duke. What are we doing? What are we doing, people?
Not right now.
Doing
I wonder if he's talking about academically. Like, truly.
Research. Like, for real.
Truly, I think he might just be talking about, like, it's a better
sports,
school.
Okay, like, what is he speaking of at this point?
The fact that we don't know, though, means he did not do this properly.
No.
He goes on a 15-minute video talking about this, about how Duke folded and Cooper Flagg is not clutch or whatever. And, he's not going to be great because he's not
Maybe
clutch.
it is
but
basketball.
when you start the video by saying my school is better than yours, I'm out.
What's wrong with Skip,
That's
man?
tough.
What's
He's
crazy?
he's trying to get any relevance he has left in him. I mean, he's not on Fox anymore. Is
He's
he?
not? I didn't know that.
No.
No.
I think he lost his job.
Yeah, he
back.
is not relevant.
Scandal thing
at this
got
point.
him?
No, he
just up and
Expired. Okay.
Yeah.
That's crazy,
Yeah.
man. I don't even tune into it like that. With that being said,
there's no reason to.
he honestly, in a sense, use Vanderbilt as a pawn right there to state that. Like, don't dangle Vanderbilt out there just to try to dismiss Duke the way you did, because this is the reaction to it, Skip. Don't do that. Like, Skip. Yeah, you got to say it like that, man.
Like
you have
Shannon.
to say it like that, 100%.
If you got someone to roast in sports, 615-737-1045 is our number. I think Duke would be better academically either, or as well, too. But it's a separate conversation. I'm not an expert on that.
I hate that for Skip.
I don't. I'm just glad to get rid of him.
You know I'm tongue-in-cheek with that one, man. Hate that for Skip.
I'm very glad to get rid of him. No doubt. Anyone else we have to roast?
That's all the roasting I had, man.
You usually come with like 5 or 6.
I used them all last week. Use them all last
you
week.
did have a lot
I
of them
could
last
put the
week.
Dodgers concession stand on there.
What they did?
I didn't hear about that.
The prices are like $12 for a hot dog. Like popcorn is $8.
They need to learn from Coastal Carolina.
No, or the Falcons for that matter. That's too many games for y'all concession prices to be that doggone high.
It's
Like,
LA.
what are we doing out here, man? But mine was the weather. I saw a guy in Memphis, man, post those, and the entire city of Memphis was going at WREG.
I saw a lot of that on social media.
I grew up on that, and those folks are trying to be
it's
good
not
at their
good.
job. That absolutely stinks, though, man. Like, you putting this basketball game, like, look at it on your phone, stream.
I haven't seen Chris Vernon say that. I wonder if he deleted it.
He had to, because I had it bookmarked.
I don't have any. I believe you. I'm not seeing it anymore, so he must have seen the errors of his way.
Well,
I like Chris, too. He does a good job.
I do, too. And I hated to put him up on the slab like this, but he deserved that one. And especially if he deleted it. Come on, man. Stand by your word. Or mute it or do something.
Yeah.
Like, if you can't take the heat unless his upper management says something to him, because he's got a big week this week.
Mm-hmm.
He's got his recaps this week, which I can't wait to
Masters Week recap.
Yes.
Oh, I love those.
I'm so excited.
Those are so fun.
I usually, the track meet I was doing last week is always Masters Week, but now they moved the meet up a week.
Hey, now.
So I can watch the Masters and just sit and we'll look at azaleas and golf shots that I can't make.
We got to figure out what's going on with Austin tomorrow, too, because he's already posted a picture.
Oh, wait, is he there?
I think.
Oh, he might not. So he might not.
So
be
he's
on tomorrow.
played the course before.
He's played the course?
Wow.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
That's actually impressive.
No, it's for sure.
I know. I'm like,
Very
wait a
impressive.
second.
I got
This
nothing
is-
to say on that
He's
one.
talked about it before. He might just be posting. The picture he posted the other day was not from Augusta. That was from Sneedville.
Sneedville? Where's Sneedville?
Rogersville.
Oh, it's Rogersville.
That is where Morgan Wallen is from, actually.
That's East Tennessee?
Yeah.
Did not know that.
Hidden by some dogwood trees.
That's-
Shout out. His best song, Sand in My Boots.
I thought that was Augusta because I saw the flowers on the ground.
No, he tweeted the goat of small towns, and somebody responded and said, "Where is that?" And he said, "Rogersville." Once you get up past Knoxville, there is no Ville. It's Vol.
Vol.
It's not Rogersville. It's Rogersville.
I never even heard of
Sneedville.
that city before.
Yeah.
It's a town or city at this point?
I mean, I would say a
Geographically,
town.
well, you're supposed to know all of these types of things because you know I'm
I
going to
know.
ask you a million questions.
I'd say it's what, northeast a little bit of Knoxville?
Northeast. I hear you, Will.
Let's see. I'm not as well versed in this as my dad, who's from East Tennessee. Yeah, northeast. I was right.
Boo.
Between Morris, it's right between Morristown and Kingsport.
Boo you after being right there.
See, unlike Buck, I would be good at the Middle Tennessee or Tennessee Geography B. He did that at the beginning of his show years ago.
By the way, you'd be impressed. Hubs is trying to get me into country. He sent me some songs this past weekend,
good. Y'all have road trips to
We
take
had the
together now for the fall
conversation on
network.
Friday.
Nice. I was sad I had to miss that.
Yeah, it's pretty fun.
By the way, I'm going to give my kid the boom roasted too real quick. My youngest, man. Sorry, Miles. I love you. You know that real quick too. But, well, I'm telling him I'm catching up on my country stuff, and their Uncle Ron Slay, okay, hits me with a country. Uncle Savage. He sends me his playlist. I've had it for a while, since his wedding, okay? And I was just like, yeah, Miles, I listen to some country. It's like, you do? I was like, yeah, man. I was like, the one I'm listening to right now is the one your Uncle Ron sent me. He went, oh, okay. Well, yeah, that's cool. Like, bro.
That's cool.
It's cool because Uncle Savage said it was cool, but as soon as Dad mentioned, yeah, exactly, man. That's what he sent me. He sent me like 1,000 laughing emojis and saying, them my boys. Yeah, they are, and they can come stay with you now. That was perfect, J-Hawk. That was perfect.
615-737-1045, our number. We'll wrap up the show with headlines. You're just waking up. Coming up next.
It's that time of the year when bugs become buggier, and it's that time of the year when I'm so happy to have All-American Pest Control. They take great care of me and my family and have for years right now, man. You guys know around my house, man, we just hate bugs, and we want every single one of them gone. So we are set up with the All-American Complete Care Max program for pest control, mosquitoes, termites, and yards, man. What I love is if a pest gets inside, all I have to do is give them a call. They send a pest expert back out to treat the inside for no extra charge. It's fantastic. Call All American today or visit yuckbugs.com. That's yuckbugs.com.
RKW. Brewed by Scooters Coffee at 104.5 The Zone. Ramon, who's this by?
Morgan Wallen.
Thank you. Pride of Sneedville.
Pride of Sneedville.
There ain't no Ville in Sneedville. There's VUHL.
Vull.
Wrapping up the show this morning. I'm going to take a hard pivot from Morgan Wallen to Alex Ovechkin.
Big O.
All-time leading goal scorer in NHL history yesterday.
What a guy.
Ovi.
What a guy.
That is
Getting
big
it done.
time.
I was catching up with some of his stuff this past weekend. He was like, man, diet for what? He was like, I go out there and score goals. And just don't follow his motto is what I'm telling you. If you're a young pro.
Do as he says, not as he does. Maybe.
Exactly. His little clip that he's had, bands that make her dance. Bands that make her dance.
Yeah, Ovi is if you've ever followed the game of hockey, he's a gem. And there's not many that last that long in terms of his career. I mean, he's 39 years old.
Yeah.
I think anybody could probably look at him and know it's Alexander Ovechkin just because he sticks out like a sore thumb. But God, I don't think I ever thought growing up like that record would be broke.
I know.
Like, it's incredible to know like this happened, and when Wayne Gretzky was still alive. Like, it's a very cool moment for the NHL, but also for Alexander Ovechkin and just everything he's done for the Capitals and for so long being at that high of a level, playing that way.
Yeah.
Like, it's incredible. Like, hats off.
Yeah, no
It's
doubt.
pretty wild. It is also even crazier thinking about now Alex Ovechkin with that many goals and with 895 that he scores yesterday against the Islanders. If Wayne Gretzky never scored a goal, he would still have more points.
Would he really?
If Wayne Gretzky had never scored a goal, he would still be the all-time points leader in NHL history. Wayne Gretzky has 2,857 career points. Ovechkin now 1,616.
Oh, Lord.
Yeah, it's nuts. Gretzky's still the greatest to ever
Oh, there's
do it.
no question.
No doubt about that.
But now there you can at least have the argument of best goal scorer.
For sure.
No doubt.
And I think that's
Ovechkin.
a healthy discussion. The NHL needs that, right? They need somebody that was relevant in this, this day and age that we could go back and say, hey, look, we don't have to go all the way back to Gretzky to just explain how great
it
player was.
Yeah, no doubt about it. That's a great point to be made right there. So much old history that you need some new to pop up from time to time.
So Jay Busby wrote at yahoosports.com, after Ovechkin breaks NHL goals mark, which other sports records are breakable and which ones aren't?
I don't know if Steph Curry's new three-point one is breakable.
Okay.
I don't know if there's anybody that's going to be able to shoot it like him. I say that, and Walter Clayton Jr. is shooting lights out, but not like Steph.
So there are two that I think in baseball are totally unbreakable.
That's where I was going.
Cal Ripken's consecutive games played is never going to be touched. Ever. In the era of load management and taking guys out if they've got a little bump or bruise, 2,632 consecutive games is completely ridiculous.
How about Nolan Ryan?
That was not my other one.
Okay,
What's that one?
strikeouts.
Yeah.
5,714.
It's a lot of strikeouts.
Strikeouts.
It's a lot of strikeouts. Joe DiMaggio's 56-game hit streak is the other one.
Oh,
I think will never be touched. Pitchers are too good now.
How many?
Joe DiMaggio had a 56-game hit streak.
Oh, Lord.
Yeah,
Who's come the closest,
1941.
to that recently?
Let's look it up.
Because
From
now
the power of the internet.
My brain is now thinking, who was that?
Dan Ugla had like a 26-game hit streak at one point for the Braves, actually. Yeah. I don't think he's in the top 10 of this list, though. Number 2, Willie Keeler of the 1896 Baltimore Orioles. So if you had that on your bingo card this morning, you're lying.
Good for you.
Pete Rose, 1978 at 44. There was one player in the 21st century to get in this top 10. Jimmy Rollins had a 38-game hit streak, 05-06.
Yep.
The 2023 season, Marcus Semien had 25. Let's say everyone gets to like 25 and then bows out. And nobody's touching it.
But you also mentioned, too, the pitching, just way different than it was.
Chipper Jones actually made that comment the other day and said, if I was playing today, I'd be a 200 hitter. So he was like, we used to see guys with 100-mile-an-hour velocity like once a month. And now you've got like middle inning relievers who are pumping 98 to 99 who are like specialty lefties.
Yeah.
Like you've got matchup guys with a turbo sinker at 99 miles per hour.
There's a high schooler right now. Lefties are known for what? Movement. placing of the ball, right? Like they had natural movement off the mound. There's a kid coming out this year, 102. He's throwing one as a lefty.
Sure.
As a lefty.
Just feel like pitching has gotten so much better. You're not going to see a 56-game hit streak again.
How about the new bats, though?
The torpedoes. So we talked about this week. I'm all for it too, but like unless you're doing what the Yankees or MLB clubs are allowed to do, it's not worth it.
I don't think it fits everyone.
Because again, some people get pitches away from them.
Yeah.
And then also like with Jazz Chisholm, they specifically made that torpedo bat for him.
Oh yeah.
Like where his hot spot is. And like if you're a high school kid trying to get one or college, like unless you got the machine at home that's making it for you, like your hot spot not be the same.
Right. The funny thing is, too, like the Brewers have struggled to pitch against everyone.
Mm-hmm.
That got a little out of control the first weekend because everyone's like, oh, my gosh, the Brewers have no chance against these bats. Like, maybe the Brewers just can't pitch.
Bad matchup there.
They just didn't. They have not started the season well against anyone. So in baseball, you just can't take too much away from the first week.
No.
That's what I keep telling myself about my 1-8 Braves, too.
Hey, at least they got that win.
Fine. I'm just more annoyed than I am worried.
I was going to say, you all right?
No, yeah, it's fine. I truly am not bothered by it.
They play too many games anyway.
I mean, they didn't do enough this offseason, but we knew that. Like going 1-8 doesn't tell me now that ownership's cheap. I already knew that.
How long does a ring last then?
It's still lasting. I still feel good in 2021.
It lasts.
That's all.
Ask the Chicago Cubs that.
I'll go wear my my World Series champs pullover later today. Now that I need pullovers.
That's
today.
recent enough.
All right, real quick. Alex Ovechkin, does he get to 1,000?
Let's get to 1,000
goals. No.
1,000 goals.
Yeah,
he scored 40. So far this season, he scored 42. He's 39. He's not slowing down.
I feel like now that he's got the record, I think he will slow down. Just my.
It's like 39. I mean, I couldn't imagine.
He's old.
Give him 40.
1,000 be sick
40.
though.
One more.
That'd be cool. Love it. Good show. Monday. There you go. Box checked. Buck Rising show next. See what else they've got. Buck is like here early, like researching and like preparing.
Weird.
In this economy?
Who knows how that's going to go?
I know, right?
Find out next. Real Citizen.
Yeah, absolutely.
The Vault Network color analyst with the final words this morning.
You must remember at all times, good people, your Twitter fingers and your mic is always hot.